What's up, guys? If you guys can hear me, please confirm so you can hear me loud and clear. What's up, guys? If you guys can hear me, please confirm so you can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, don't, it'll help, if you guys, let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. It does not help if you guys tell me hello or any of that. Can you guys tell me if the audio is good or not good, or if you guys can hear me loud and clear? If you guys say what's up, hello, any of that, none of that lets me confirm if you guys can hear the audio or not. There's a 30-second delay from the time that I ask you guys something until the time that I see a response on the chat. It would be much more helpful if you guys let me know if the audio is loud and clear instead of asking me questions or agree. Because I'm having trouble on my side. I cannot tell whenever the audio is clear or not. It's not loud enough. I'm using a Canon camcorder with an OBS and a Rode microphone, and I'm not exactly sure where the damn trouble is at. If you guys wonder why I don't do a lot of live streams, this is one of the primary reasons, because I'm unable to get the microphone is the biggest problem I'm having to make it clear and consistent. Like every time I turn my computer on or off, or I move my computer around, the audio changes, and it takes me hours to figure out how to get the audio to work correctly. That's the reason why you guys don't see me live stream a lot, because I know that every time I live stream, you guys might see me live stream for an hour, but then you don't see the hour and a half, 2 hours that I'm trying to figure out how to get the damn audio to work. And I know that you guys think that it's easy, but for me it's not, because I set the audio one time, and you would think that if I don't touch anything, that nothing changes after that, but that's not the case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, if I increase the gain on the audio, 1, 2, 3, I just increased the gain from 2 to 3.5. Can you guys hear me louder? Is that any better? 1, 2, 3. I turn the gain from like 1 to like 3. Let me know if the gain on 3 is better. If the gain on 3 is better, just say the gain is better on 3. The audio is better on gain of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So, you guys are, man, I wish you guys would answer the question that I'm asking you guys, so it makes it a lot better. Okay, there, finally, somebody answers the question. Thanks, Tran. The audio is better at this level. Okay. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to the cryptocurrency.market channel. My name is Tai Zen. I'm currently broadcasting from downtown Bangkok on the Chao Phraya River next to Icon Siam. Okay. And in this video, guys, I want to talk about how having clear goals in your financial life and in your life in general will help you make life-changing profits faster. Okay. Before I talk about this, I want to share with you guys that the number one mistake that everyone on our team made in the last 3 market cycles, and in 2014, 2017, and 2021, and 100% of the mistakes, the biggest mistake that 100% of our students and our team members made in the last 3 market cycles is not having clear financial goals. I know that when you guys go out there into the market and you guys are looking to trade better, right? You guys hear some white noise. Let me see. God damn it. Good audio is better, but can still hear some the hissing noise. Let me see. Let me turn the gain down some then. I turned the gain back down to like 1, so hopefully that's better. So let me know if the audio is better on 1. I put the audio gain, the microphone gain on 1, so if it's better without the background noise, let me know, guys. I swear, if the audio was more consistent on my live stream setup, I would live stream a lot more, guys. But man, I just really hate wasting 2 hours on the microphone, right? I put the audio back on a 1, the audio gain back on a 1, and it's weird because it was on the level 1 gain earlier, and it was bad, and now the mic meter says that it's working. So okay. The background connection. Okay. Yes, I am using OBS. I'll mute the mic on OBS. Okay, I tried muting the mic and the desktop audio on OBS, so hopefully that. Oh, okay. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I did not know that this was a problem here. Give me 1 second here. Let me fix this. Okay. turn off the slow mode. Okay, I turn off the slow mode so that you guys can give me live feedback. Okay, is the audio better? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I don't know what else to mute. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to go with it, guys, because I don't know what else to click. I've already spent like probably about 2 hours before I went live on the audio already. So there is no power going to the mic. All right, guys. Welcome to the cryptocurrency.market channel. My name is Tai Zen. And in this video, I want to talk about how setting clear goals can help you achieve life-changing profits much faster, okay? The reason why I have to say this every time in a bear market, guys, is because 100% of my students and 100% of our team members have made this mistake, and it is the absolute biggest mistake that all of us has made in trading and investing. And when I say that, right, whenever I say that this is the biggest mistake that we make in trading and investing, it's very easy for you guys to just brush it aside and just not take it seriously. Okay, now I want you guys to think about this. Okay, first of all, whenever I hear someone on the internet talk about trading and investing, right, I always want to know what their background is so that I can know if I should listen to them or not. So in case you are new to this channel, my name is Tai Zen. I came from Vietnam as a refugee, and I went to Malaysia to live in a refugee camp when I was young, about 5, 6 years old in 1977, for about a year. And then from there, I immigrated to the U.S. as a refugee again. And then when I came to the U.S., I lived there for about 40 years. When I lived in the U.S., I grew up in a very poor and uneducated family because we came from a very small fishing village in Vietnam. And my parents did not know it, so we ended up going to live in a very ghetto black neighborhood so that we can reduce our living expenses. And I was the only, we were the only non-black family inside the ghetto where I lived in downtown Port Arthur. That's the name of the city, Port Arthur, and it's in the area of southeast Texas. Okay, so I made the wrong choice of friends, and I got involved in drugs, and I ended up going to prison for almost 14 years. Okay, I never finished high school because I had to drop out in the 11th grade to come home and help my family work and pay the bills. And so when I went to prison at 18 years old, I did not come out until about 32 years old. And in prison is when I discovered trading and investing. In the prison, everybody was struggling. A lot of the people in there were poor prisoners, and we were struggling to live in prison. And in prison, I noticed that there were about 5 white guys, okay? I'm gonna say white guys, but really they were not all 100% white. Like some of them were Hispanic whites, and some of them were they were white guys, but one of their parents might have been from somewhere else. But they all look white on the outside, okay? So these 5 white guys, they were making money trading coffee, soybean, gold, oil, wheat, and all this stuff while we were in prison. And that was the first time that I saw someone making money doing something that did not involve physical labor, okay? Because all my life, I grew up in the elementary school years in America, picking fruit and vegetables in Salem, Oregon. And then by the time I got to middle school, I was working in sweatshops, sewing clothes. And my brother and I would sew about 500 to 2,000 garments a week in the sweatshops in the city of Fort Worth in Texas. And then after that, we saved up some money. And then by the time I got to high school, I was working on repairing commercial fishing and shrimp boats along the Gulf of Mexico when I was in high school. So all my life, I've done tons and tons of manual labor. Some of you guys see me living well right now, and I'm wealthy, and you guys see that right now. But that has just been a small portion of my life. I'm 52 years old now, and I've been retired since 2017 when I was 44 years old. So the time that I've been retired is just a small fraction of my entire life. Most of my life I was living in poverty, okay? So you guys, I may not be able to say that I'm a financial expert or an expert at getting rich, but I can definitely tell you all the things that you can do to be poor and in poverty, okay? Because I've lived that for over 4 decades of my life. So I can claim to be an expert in being in poverty and how to also escape poverty too, all right? So, okay. So one of the things that I did when I first came out was to pursue the learning, trading, and investing. And it took me about 11 years after I came out of federal prison to be able to make enough money to retire comfortably in 2017. So that's my background. And then the way that a lot of people want to know is how I got involved in crypto. In 2012, I was working at an energy brokerage firm in Dallas, and they were making a lot of money selling commercial electricity to hotels, to commercial buildings and businesses. And I noticed that the two owners of that commercial, the energy broker, they did not spend a lot of time focusing on selling electricity. They spent more time focused on mining these Bitcoins, right? And since I was the only Asian guy working in the entire energy brokerage firm, these white guys that owned the place, they were constantly bugging me about trying to find somebody in China to manufacture these ASICs chips so they can mine more Bitcoins. So at first I thought, they were stupid and, but about to be wasting time on these, magic internet money called Bitcoin. But then it only took me a very, very short period of time, and I'm talking about maybe a few weeks, right, for me to realize that these guys were not bullshitting about Bitcoins, It was hard for me to believe that they were high integrity business people in the energy business and then turn around and be dumb enough to mess with Bitcoins if it was bullshit, right? So they convinced me to go read the Bitcoin white paper and stuff, and I read it, and I got my friend leonfu.com to verify that what the white paper said was true and was possible, and it was not a scam or anything like that. The math and the software was legit. So our team bought our first Bitcoins at $60, and then we ended up starting the first Bitcoin and cryptocurrency investing channel on the internet that we know of, right? At that time, I searched for days, weeks, months, and we never saw anyone else talking about how to invest into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So we started the first channel back in the beginning of, so somewhere in 2013. I forget what month or year, what month or date, but I know it was in 2013. So we were the first channel to tell everybody to invest into Ethereum after we interviewed the founder of Ethereum. He was a young kid named Vitalik Buterin at that time. And everybody thought we were crazy and stuff, and we did make some life-changing profits from the investment into the Ethereum and into the first dozen or so coins, all right? So in this video, I want to focus specifically on the clear financial goals, because this is the number one mistake that all our students make. We have about 450 paid students, and we have no more than 10 members on our team, and we have all made this mistake. Every one of us, okay? And I'm saying this because I don't want you guys to see this, to repeat the same mistake that we made and our students have made. And it's very difficult to share this mistake with you guys because it's so abstract, it's not tangible, it's not physical, right? If I wore the wrong shirt, right, it's very easy. You know, I'm wearing a red shirt and I tell you guys, hey, I should have wore a white shirt or something, or a blue shirt. That's very easy to see because that's something that's visible and that's tangible that you can see. But when we talk about clear financial goals, that is not so easy to see. It's not so tangible for people to observe, right? So that's what makes it very difficult. And then when you go into trading and investing, like I did back in when I came out of prison in 2006, right? The main focus that everybody focuses on is two things whenever they get into trading and investing. The number one focus, one of them, right, is picking the right stock or picking the right coin, right? And the second would be technical analysis, thinking that you can use technical analysis to time your entries and know where the bottoms are at, and to buy at the bottoms and then sell at the tops. Or if you are one of those people that are amateurs and you try to sell short and try to figure out where the peak is at so you can sell short and then take profits at the bottom. Okay, either way, right? So those are the two things that people focus on when they get into trading and investing, right? And I'm here to tell you guys that that is the least problem in trading and investing. That is the absolute least problem and the smallest mistake that people make. Okay, the mistake is thinking that selecting the right coin or choosing the right coin or having good technical analysis is a mistake. Okay, let me figure out how to say this so that you guys understand it. When you first enter the markets and you think that, and you in your mind you believe that, hey, if I have good technical analysis or if I choose the right coin or the right stock, this is going to help me make life-changing profits. And I can tell you that it is 100% wrong. It is 100% not the reason why you're not going to make life-changing profits. Okay? The number one reason or the number one mistake that people make is that they don't have clear goals. Okay? They don't have clear financial goals. And I say this all the time. In the bear markets, I say this, right? And, hey, can you guys answer the door? Huh? What's going on? Like, well, why are you standing there? Hey, whenever somebody rings the doorbell, just go check to see what they want. You guys are just standing there looking at it like you never seen the doorbell ring before or something. Why? Okay. So the number one mistake that everyone makes is that they think that the lack of technical analysis or picking the right coin or the right stock is the mistake, right? And I'm telling you guys, it's not. That's not the mistake. The mistake is that you don't have clear financial goals. And it's really, really difficult to explain this to you guys, right? And if you guys go back in time to 5, 10, 15 years ago, and you guys tell me that this is going to be the biggest mistake you and your team and your students are going to make, Ty, I don't know. I know for a fact it's going to be hard for you guys to convince me that. And so I have to make these videos over and over, and I'm hoping that someday, just someday, I'm able to convey this mistake to you guys clear enough so that you guys can avoid it and not step on this dangerous landmine, okay? And why is setting clear goals so important? Why is setting clear financial goals so important, okay? I'm going to try to do a bunch of examples so you guys can see this, okay? And I'm hoping that the examples I give you guys will open your minds. And the reason why is because if you guys focus on establishing clear goals in your finances with your money and stuff and where you want to be, it is much faster to make it is much faster to make life-changing profits if you guys can do this, okay? And before I share the examples with you guys, right, I want to say this, right, because I know that if you're watching this video or you're watching me for the first time, or if you're not certain if I'm qualified to say what I'm saying, I want you to remember this, okay, guys? Our team, right, has already surpassed $10 million long time ago. Okay, so it's not like I'm some fucking schmuck that just made $100 on the internet, and I'm telling you guys this, okay? Not only has our team surpassed $10 million, right? We have also helped over at least 100 people become millionaires already. All right. Now, I did not see their statements, but these are what my students have called me and thanked me for. Over 100 students have called me and thanked me for helping them become millionaires. All right. And there's a bunch more people that we have helped retire early in Southeast Asia, because all you need is about $200,000 to retire in Vietnam. Okay. So I'm telling you guys that so that you guys know that I'm not just some random YouTuber that is talking about money or finances, okay? This is something that I've spent the entire majority of my life trying to figure out how to escape poverty, okay? And so when I'm saying that setting clear goals is the number one mistake, or the lack of setting clear financial goals is the number one mistake that people make, I'm not saying this as some random YouTuber. I'm saying this because I've actually escaped poverty, and I've actually helped 100 other people do the same thing that I've done. Okay, out of 450 students, and out of those 450 students, 150 of them just became our students just a month ago, right? So that's it's really 100 out of 300 students that I've helped that has thanked me for helping them become millionaires. All right, so I'm going to give you several examples. Okay, I'm going to give you guys several examples so that you guys see what I'm talking about. The easiest example that I'm going to share with you guys is that we have a lot of students that ask us, why don't we teach them how to day trade or make short-term trades? Okay, that where you buy and then you sell, buy in the morning, sell in the evening, or buy today, sell tomorrow, or buy this week and sell next week. Okay, the reason why we don't teach our students to do that is because that does not make life-changing profits. And what I mean by that is that our channel is focused on helping people make life-changing profits. Our channel is about sharing the tools, the techniques, and the strategies that helped us grow from nothing, into a 7, 8, 9-figure portfolio. All right. So in order to do that, to make that kind of money, seven figures is $1 million. 8 figures is $10 million, and 9 figures is $100 million, okay? So in order to hit numbers like $1 million, 10 million, 100 million, that is not something that happens in a short period of time, guys, right? To make those kinds of monies, right, those large amounts of money, that you need to be able to give, you need time. It's not just capital, but you also need time in order for money to grow into large amounts like that. Okay, I cannot think of anything where you can just make $1 million in 1 minute or 1 hour or 1 day or 1 week. And when I say that, you guys are gonna say, hey Ty, you have shared with us that the condo that I'm in right now, the Bangkok condo I'm in right now on the riverfront next to Icon Siam here, right? You said that you made that $1 million in 30 hours. And now you're telling us that you cannot make $1 million in 1 day or 1 week. And you have shared with us many times that you made $1 million to buy that $1 million condo in 30 hours during the Dogecoin pump in 2021. Isn't that a conflict? Okay. And the answer is no, it's not a conflict, because our trading and investing system is not based on one-off events or one-time events like that. The way that when we teach our cryptocurrency investing blueprint, the course that we have online, you guys can check it out at cryptocurrency.market/blueprint. Oh, matter of fact, it's right here, right there, right there. Okay, you guys can look at the English version or the Vietnamese version, right? In our cryptocurrency investing blueprint, we teach our students to set up a complete system, okay? And in that system, right, it takes time to build life-changing profits. Now, does our cryptocurrency investing system have a component where if there's an opportunity to make $1 million in a day, that we will capture that opportunity? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is. But that's not the bulk of our profits. The bulk of our profits comes from the long term. That's why we teach students how to make money through a whole cycle, not in one day or 1 week. If you say, hey, Ty, does your cryptocurrency investing blueprint teach us how to make profit each day, each week, or each month, or each year? The answer is absolutely no. No. The answer is no. We don't know how to do that. Okay? What we do know how to do is make a profit consistently in every bull market. Right? So right now we're in a bear market. So if you ask us, hey, Ty, you making a profit right now? The answer is no, because we don't make money in a bear market. Right? The amount of profit that we make is so small that it's negligible. It's not even worth talking about or bragging about. And we make our profits when there's a bull market, right? So right now we're in a bear market. We're still buying, right? And how long are we going to buy? At the way that the current market conditions are, we will continue buying for the rest of 2023. In Q3 and Q4 of 2022, we said it over and over and over. We made videos saying that we will start buying on January 1st in Q1 of 2023, and we will continue to buy for the entire 2023 until we see signals that will tell us to stop buying and just wait until the market goes up, and then we'll start selling. We'll look for opportunities to sell. So right now, we don't see any signals to tell us to stop buying. So every chance that we get, if we have extra money, we're buying. Okay, so you guys don't have to ask us if we're buying or not, right? We are, all right? Now, if your goal is to make life-changing profits and you know that it needs time, then why would you focus on buying in the morning and selling in the evening? That does not make sense. That's not congruent. It doesn't match up with what your goals are. If your goals are to really make life-changing profits, and what is considered life-changing? Well, life-changing can be you make enough money to retire. That's the obvious one. But it's not just about retirement, because you can make enough money and buy you a car, right? If you don't have a car to go to work and you need to borrow someone else's car, or you need to ride with someone else to go to work, then it's possible that if you just have a car, that can be life-changing for you, right? Let's say that you want to have a child, or you want to have a wedding, or you want to marry someone, but you don't have the money to do that. And if you make enough money to where you can have a wedding, or you can marry that girl that you want, right? Or you can start a family by having a child, right? A baby in your life, then that is also life-changing. So it's not just about retirement. You know, for some people, if they make enough money so that they can pay to go to college, right? I don't recommend people go to college. I think college is a scam. But if that's what you want in your life, then making enough money to go to college can be life-changing, right? So life-changing is different for everyone, right? The most common thing that we think about when we talk about life-changing is being able to retire early and being able to quit our day job so we can have the freedom to do what we want, right? And spend time with our family, or just do whatever we want. So that's the most common one, but there are a lot of things that can be life-changing, right? Retirement or quitting your day job is just one of them, all right? Now, if your goal was to really quit your day job, right, and you know that you need about $200,000 in Vietnam, or you need about 10 years of runway, which is about, I don't know, if your living expenses are about $50,000 a year in the Western countries like America, then I would say that you need about 5 to 10 years, right? 5 to 10 years in order for it to be comfortable. So that would be $50,000 a year times 5 years. That's $250,000, or 10 years, which would be about $500,000, right? No, 50,000 times 10, right? That would be about $500,000, right? So you need about $250,000 to $500,000 to start early retirement in the Western countries, and you need about $200,000 to give you about 10 to 20 years of runway in countries like Thailand or Vietnam, Okay, so that's if you need to make that amount of money, that amount of money is not going to come from day trading. That amount of money is not going to come from buying today and selling next week. That amount of money of $250,000, $500,000, $1,000,000, that is going to take some time. Okay, you cannot rely on an opportunity such as the Dogecoin pump and make $1,000,000 like I did to buy this condo. Even though I did it, right? And we teach our students in the cryptocurrency investing blueprint that if they see an opportunity like that, how to seize that opportunity and make a profit from it. The reality is that is not something that you can build a system around. You guys gotta be aware when something is just like random luck, right? Or something that I can build a system to do this consistently in every market cycle. Okay, if you ask me, hey Ty, can you teach me how to find those Dogecoin pumps and make $1,000,000 from it in every market cycle? The answer is no, because I don't know when it's going to happen. And more than likely, you don't have enough capital. If you haven't retired like I did already, you may not have enough capital to even take advantage of those opportunities. And by the way, when I said I made that $1,000,000 to buy this $1,000,000 condo from the Dogecoin pump, I want you guys to know that about 3/4 of that came from my money, and then the other quarter of it, the other 25–30% of it, came from me managing money for my clients, and that's the commissions that they paid me to make that money for them. Okay, so it's not just all my money. About 3/4 of it was my personal money, and then about 25–30% of it was commissions from my clients that paid me. So the combination of the commissions and the profits that I made came together to make $1,000,000 for me to buy this $1,000,000 condo that I'm sitting in right now. Okay, but that is not something that you want to rely on, and that is not something that I would want you to rely on if you became one of our students to retire early either. I would prefer that you guys build the entire system to capture when the market goes up, that you guys make a profit from that, and then if you don't retire in one market cycle, within 2, at maximum 3 market cycles, right, there's a high probability that you guys can retire early. So how does this relate to not setting clear goals? Well, think about that. If you guys say that I want to make life-changing profits on this side, right, but then you go do the activities in the market and you go focus on things that do not create life-changing profits, how does that help you? How does that help you? Okay, for example, right, I see guys that will buy a very small liquidity coin, right? They buy a very small liquidity coin. For example, they feel like we tell people to buy Bitcoin first, and Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, those big coins first. And people say, well, those coins have been around already, and they already had their pump in 2017, 2021, so there's no point in buying those, right? But if you really think about it, right, when you are new to the cryptocurrency market, when you haven't retired yet, you haven't made a profit yet, and you haven't made a big lump sum profit that changes your life yet, what is more important? What is more important to you? Is it risking your money on something that can potentially go to zero and you lose everything? Or is it more important that you make a decent profit if you don't retire in the first cycle, that you have enough profit, right, to where you can buy more coins in the bear market and then be able to retire in the next bull market? Which one do you think is more important? Okay, in my opinion, and based on the mistakes that we've made and the mistakes that our students have made, I think that the most important thing for you to do in the first bull market that you guys go into, or the first cycle that you guys go into, is, if let's say you start out with $5,000 or $10,000. Okay, most of our students, they start out with at least $5,000, $10,000 and up. Okay, and up to, if they're new, up to like maybe $50,000. Okay, now some of you guys might think, hey Ty, what if I have like, you know, $500,000? Can I jump into the market and invest with my $500,000? And the answer is no. The answer is no. Even if you have $500,000, right, in a Western country, all you need is about $50,000 to $100,000, right? There's no reason really, if you're new to the cryptocurrency market, there's really no reason to invest more than $100,000 into this market, because $100,000, anywhere between, I would say between $10 to $100,000 is more than plenty to change your life if you do it right. Okay, for example, right? If let's say that you had $500,000, if you had more than $100,000, instead of putting all 100% of that capital into the cryptocurrency market, I would only put in a maximum of like $100,000, right? And then I would take the rest of it and go and invest into our cryptocurrency investing blueprint. And the reason why I say that is because if you know what to do with that $100,000 and you have a system in place that can help you grow that $100,000, that is more valuable than you taking $200,000 or $300,000 or $500,000 and put it into the market and don't know what the fuck you're doing and then lose half of it. Okay? If you do it right, $50,000 or $100,000 is more than plenty of money to be life-changing in the cryptocurrency market. Because why? Because when the cryptocurrency market goes up, right, it goes up massively, all right? If you put $50,000 or $100,000 in and you do it right, it can turn into a 3x, 5x, or a 10x, right? If it turns into a 5x, now you have that $50,000 just became $250,000. That is life-changing. Now you might say, hey Ty, that's not life-changing in the West, right? But here's the thing that you guys got to remember, guys. If you just turn $50,000 into $250,000, even if you cannot retire early, what it does for you is that it gives you peace of mind. And that is something that no one ever talks about in trading and investing, right? And that's how I know whenever I talk to another trader or another investor, if they are a high level, if they really understand finances and they really get it, okay, is that the peace of mind when you have $200,000-$300,000 in your back pocket in your bank account, and you know that, hey, if I just wait until the bear market again and I buy again, in the next cycle, if I make another 3x or 4x or 5x, I'm gonna retire. And these market cycles happen like every 2 to 4 years in the crypto market. So if you don't do it now, right? Let's just say that this is your first bear market. You make $250,000 in the next bull market, right? And it's not enough for you. It's enough for you to retire in Vietnam, Laos, or Thailand, but it's not enough for you to retire in America or Europe or Canada. Well, then you just hold that $250,000, and within another 4 years, that $250,000 can grow big enough to where you can retire. Or if you want to retire early, you can just leave the U.S. and just move to Thailand or Vietnam or one of these other countries where the cost of living is significantly less, and you can start your early retirement then, right? And that's the reason why I say that people's goals are not clear. Now, what's another example of unclear goals? Like, we have a situation in Vietnam where I see a lot of young kids, a lot of young people in college, in high school, in college, and this happens in America and Thailand too. So it's not just in Vietnam or Thailand alone. This happens in America too, right? You go and you spend time focusing on football, basketball, you focus on the political debates, you focus on stupid shit. It's what in America we call it stupid shit, dumb shit. Dumb shit that has nothing to do with you making life-changing profits, right? So, for example, when I remember when I was working in America, right? I remember the guys on Wall Street that worked with me, the guys in Atlanta that worked with me, the guys in Chicago that worked with me, the guys in Los Angeles that worked with me, the guys in Miami that worked with me. They all say that I'm lucky. They all say that I'm lucky I bought Bitcoins early or I bought Ethereum early, that we were the first team to tell people to invest into the Ethereum coin back in 2014. They all call it luck. But I don't consider it luck because they said they had no money. Now, think about this, right? How is it possible that we work at the same place, right? And I'm able to buy, on average, 1 to 2 Bitcoins every quarter. right? And this is when Bitcoin was below $500. Like all the Bitcoins I bought were between, on average, between 300 to 250 to $500, right? And between 2013 and 2016, right? During those 3 years, the average Bitcoin I bought was between 250 to $500, right? And I average about 1 to 2 Bitcoins a quarter. So think about that. If I buy an average of 1 to 2 Bitcoins and the average price was $250 to $500, that means that I only bought like $1,000 worth of Bitcoins every quarter. Okay? And where did I get the money from that? I got the money from that because I didn't go drinking. I didn't go fuck around with these whores, right? I didn't go smoke weed. That's the #1 cause of people losing money, of young people losing money in America nowadays, right? Either drinking or smoking weed, all right? And I would have these guys that work with me, they would say, oh, Ty, you're so lucky. You had the money, extra money to buy Bitcoins when it was under $500, right? And you have to ask yourself, what were these guys doing when they were working with me? If I could afford to have an extra $500 to $1,000 every quarter, what were these guys doing with me when they worked with me, right? Why didn't they have an extra $500 to $1,000? And the primary reason why they did not have that money was because they were spending all that money on drugs and alcohol, right? And that's the reason why I say to be clear on your goals, right? Because if your goals were really to make life-changing profits so that you can quit your day job, retire early with your wife and kids, and go live on the beach, right? Then why are you spending that money on drugs and alcohol? Why? And this is not just in America, guys. They just legalized marijuana in Thailand last year. So now, like, if you go down the street, I live right next to the most luxurious shopping center in Southeast Asia. It's called Icon Siam, and it's right here, right? It's like right in front of me, right here. And on the street that's in front of the street that I live on is called Chalon Nakhon. And on this street Chalon Nakhon, there are several stores that sell marijuana. And then if you go into the main street in Bangkok, the main street, when you translate it to in Thai language, it's called Sukhumvit, right? And if you go onto the Sukhumvit road or street, that's the main street in Bangkok. It's very long. I think it goes all the way to Laos or Cambodia. You can drive on there from Bangkok all the way to Phnom Penh in that's what someone told me. I haven't driven on it yet, right? But if you go onto the main street called Sukhumvit in Bangkok, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of marijuana stores all over the place, right? So you have to ask yourself, if your goal is to make life-changing profits, why would you go spend that money on marijuana? Why would you go spend that money on getting some poontang? Why would you go spend that money to go and buy alcohol for? Why don't you spend that money to buy every Bitcoin, every Ether token, every Cardano, every Polkadot that you can imagine, that you can get, right? Instead of spending money on poontang, you should be selling your ass to buy Bitcoins, okay? Instead of spending money on marijuana, on drugs or alcohol, you should be spending that money on buying more Bitcoins and Ethers, right? That's what's going to change your life, right? So, if you really, all I gotta say, I bring this up about marijuana because it's a big issue in America that I see with young people, right? Because they think it's okay, right? If you ask, you guys know that I went to prison for drugs that I didn't have, right? I went to prison for 6.5 kilos of cocaine that I did not have. And then I went to prison also for using a gun on my older brother, which I didn't. I didn't hit him with the gun. I didn't shoot him, right? I didn't do nothing, all right? In Texas, it's legal to own a gun, all right? So I say this about marijuana in America because it's a huge problem. If you ask me, with my prison experience, with my 14 years in prison, and I've been to like 7 different federal prisons in America already. If you ask me, hey Ty, do you think it's a good thing to legalize marijuana? Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I don't think you should put people in prison for a vegetable that grows out in the wild. Like, we don't put people in prison for lettuce or cabbage or carrots or tomatoes. Why should we put people in prison for growing a plant and they want to smoke it, right? Now, some people say, hey, Ty, what about cocaine or the coca or the opium or something like that? What if people, if you're saying that it should be legal for people to grow marijuana plants and do whatever they want with it, what about like the coca plant, or what about the opium plant? Well, there's a difference between growing something and then taking it and processing it into a dangerous chemical. There's a big difference. Like something like tobacco and marijuana, there's really not any processing. You grow it, you put it out in the sun to dry it, and then you smoke it or drink it or eat it or do whatever you want with it, right? Whereas if you, cocaine and heroin, you actually have to go through an intensive refinement process in order to convert that plant into cocaine or into heroin. So those are two different concepts there, okay? I'm okay with legalizing marijuana. I'm not okay with legalizing heroin or cocaine, okay? Now, I am for decriminalizing it. Decriminalizing it means that you don't put people in prison because of drugs, okay? The reason why I say that is because there is zero evidence. I don't see any evidence that putting people in prison stops people from selling cocaine or selling heroin, or putting people in prison stops the population from selling cocaine or heroin or using it, okay? So we're doing something that has no effect on reducing the amount of people that use it or sell it, okay? So that's my experience, all right? So back to the setting clear goals. Do you guys understand what I'm saying about the clear goals? Like, please don't put any questions in the comment about the clear goals, right? Please put questions in there if you guys don't understand what I'm saying about. This topic of this video is about clear goals. Don't put questions in there about what coins to buy, right? Don't put questions in there about taking profits. Put questions in there about setting clear financial goals, right? And while I'm waiting for those questions, I'll share with you guys this. Some of you guys ask, hey Ty, how did you come out of prison without a high school degree? And you're 32 years old. Why didn't you give up on life? Why didn't you give up? Like, how were you so certain that you were going to become a millionaire someday? How were you so certain? Okay? The reason why is because of this, guys. Because I had a clear goal of becoming a millionaire. And the reason why was because of two things. One, I didn't want to become a millionaire because I wanted to have a lot of money and show off that I have money. Okay? Even right now, out of the 450 students that I have, more of them own a car than I do. I don't even own a car right now. Okay? I don't even own a car. All right? So the reason why I was so clear when I came out of prison, and I'll share this with you guys because I know some of you guys are watching this, right? As you guys are in, so I know some of you guys are watching this in prison, and I also know that some of you guys are watching this while you guys have just come out of prison, okay? So let me say this, okay? Let me just send a shout out, okay? I think it's called a shout out. Yeah, a shout out, okay? Because what I do is I look at the comments to see what the comments are, and that's why I get the ideas to make my videos, all right? So I got a comment from a fellow prisoner, right? Now, I don't know this guy, okay, so he just made a comment, right? It's from a Perspective 9428. That's his username, from a Perspective 9428, okay? He says, damn, looks like a black guy, right? So he says, damn, been watching you for years now, but haven't been getting notice of your videos lately. So you guys need to hit the subscribe button, so that's why you get it. And then you click on the bell so that you get notified whenever we upload a new video or do a live stream, right? But he says, but you got me in tears this morning. I did 13 years, 13 out 10 years and still struggling, legally of course. Tired of fighting the demons from my past. Glad to see someone make it out, okay? And I want to say these words not to just from a Perspective 9428, right? But I'm saying this to all the guys that are watching me in prison, and all the guys that have come out of prison, right? The reason why I struggled, okay, when I first came out of prison was because I let people destroy my goals and my dreams, right? My I realized when I was in prison that when you're poor, you have no say so. No matter, even if you live in America and they have freedom of speech, your speech is meaningless. Your speech has nothing. Your speech has no value. Your words have no value when you're poor, right? When you walk by a beautiful woman, right, you are invisible to her when you are broke, when you are poor and broke. And that's how it should be. You might think, hey, Ty, that's not fair, you know, these pretty girls, they ignore you when you're poor and shit. That, you know what? Let me say this to you guys, okay? Because the majority, over 90% of you guys are men that are watching my videos, right? I want you guys to ask yourself if you were a hot chick. If you look like a Megan Fox, okay? They don't have too many more Megan Foxes on TVs nowadays, you know? They got all these fat asses, you know, that run around pretend to be pretty, you know? But let's just say you're like a Megan Fox or a young Angelina Jolie, okay? Or a young Megan Fox. Do you think that you would talk to a guy like me or Perspective 9428 if we just came out of prison? No. If you're a hot chick, man, why the fuck would you talk to a fucking broke-ass dude for? 100% of you guys would never talk to a broke dude if you were born looking like a young Angelina Jolie or Megan Fox. None of you guys would, okay? None of you guys would. So don't bitch and complain when you see hot girls or women want to date guys that have money, right? It's, in my opinion, it's easier to become a millionaire and to become wealthy than it is to sit there and bitch and complain about why these girls, you know, don't want to talk to you, okay, or don't want to look at you. It's easier. Trust me, it's easier to make the money and then have, you know, these girls want to be your fourth or fifth wife than it is to sit there and bitch about why these hot girls are not looking at you, okay? Much easier, all right? The reason why I struggled when I first came out of prison was, one, I didn't have a clear goal. And why didn't I have a clear goal back then? Well, because I came out of prison after nearly 14 years, and I let my stepmom, my sister, and my coworkers, and the people around me, and when I say the people around me, the people that I can reach out with my arm and touch them. They're that close to me, okay, that I can touch these people, okay? I'm not talking about the people in China or Russia or Mexico. I'm not talking about the people on the moon or on Mars. I'm talking about the people in my daily life that I can reach out and touch their shoulder, right? Those are the people I'm talking about. And I made the mistake of allowing their poverty dreams that I allow these poor people that like to live in poverty to implant their poverty mindset into my life, into my mind. And what do I mean by that? Okay? What you guys got to realize is that out in the world, okay, we think that when we grow up, we think that, oh, everybody wants to be rich and wealthy. And that's not true. That's not true, right? In this world, we have like the symbol, the Chinese symbol, the yin and yang symbol. There's dark and there's light, there's cold, there's hot, there's top, there's bottom, there's high, there's low, there's left, there's right, there's opposites. We live in a world where opposites balance each other, right? So we have the hot sun, we have the cold snow, okay? We have the oceans that's wet, we have the deserts that are dry, okay? We have men that like women, and we have men that like men. We have girls that like girls, and we have girls that like men, okay? So there are people that like to work a job. There are people that like to build a business. There are people that like to invest. There are people that do not like to invest. There are people that like vanilla. There are people that like chocolate. Okay, so we live in a world where there's opposites, and that's how this world we live in. So if you like to make money, and you like to be a millionaire, and you like to be wealthy, right? And you like to drive, you know, Lambos and Ferraris, and you like to be surrounded by a dozen beautiful women, like a young Angelina Jolie or Megan Fox or Sofia Vergara or something like that, right? Then there are guys out there that want the complete opposite. There are guys out there that are very, very content living poor. There are guys out there that love to live in poverty. There are guys out there that like to be surrounded by fat, ugly women, right? There are guys out there that like to drive a hoopty or a piece of shit car that never fucking starts when you turn the ignition on, right? You have to understand that. And when you go out into the world, the reason why it's so important to be clear on where you want to be is because that allows you to block out the people, the poverty mindset people that want to install their poverty mindset into your mind, okay? So for example, when I came out of prison, right, my stepmom, my little sister, right, was living in poverty. I mean, they were living on welfare. They live in a shithole, right? They live in government housing. And when I came out of prison, right, I lived with them and I was like, holy shit, I couldn't, it was just, in my opinion, the living conditions that they were living in was worse than my prison cell in federal prison. And if you guys are watching this in prison, or you guys are watching this after you came out of prison, you guys know we live in a shitty fucking place in federal prison. Okay, so it's not like it was luxury, okay? So in order for me to say that my stepmom and my little sister was living in a shithole that was worse than me living in prison, I really mean that. It was a shithole, okay? Matter of fact, if you have been to prison before, right, you will know what I'm saying when I say this, right? Living with my stepmom and little sister was like living in the county jail. Okay, it's like living in the county jail, right? So, when I worked 3 jobs, all right? I started getting a job. I started looking, even when I was working my first job, I was looking for a second job, looking for a third job, right? I got up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to go deliver the Onion newspaper, okay, in the city of Austin. You guys understand me? The Onion newspaper. It's a satire, a parody, hilarious newspaper. Like, I think it's one of the funniest newspapers out there, right? But I got a job for 2 to 3 hours a day delivering the newspaper, right? And if you guys are listening to me and you guys live in the city of Austin, you guys will know this, right? I had the 183 highway route, or the 183 route. So all the businesses that were on both sides of 183, I would have to run that whole route, okay, and drop off the Onion newspaper at every one of them. And if they needed a new newspaper stand, then I would grab the stands and I would put that in the store, the convenience store, or the nail salon, or the barber shop, or whatever, and then I would drop off the newspapers to them. And I was doing that, right? I did that for 3 hours, and the reason why I did that was because nobody wanted to do that job, right? Because they thought it was degrading, and they thought it was low class. I didn't give a shit. I did not give a shit. I grew up in a poor, ghetto-ass black neighborhood in Southeast Texas, right? Where everybody there was poor and ghetto as shit, okay? We were nobodies. And then I was in prison for almost 14 years. I'm a nobody. I didn't give a shit. You want me to fucking pick up shit, clean shit on the streets? If you want to fucking shit right there and pay me to clean it up, I'll clean it up for you. I was willing to do any damn thing to make some money, as long as it did not break the law and it did not break the ethics and the morals and ethics of society, okay? Cleaning up shit, picking up trash, cleaning the sewers, right? Unplugging a toilet, delivering the newspaper. None of that shit broke the law, and none of that shit broke any ethics or morals. Now, does it make you a lower class person in society? Yeah, I agree it does make you a lower class person when you're out there cleaning up horse shit in downtown Austin, or you're delivering the newspapers. I remember going to all the nail salons, and I would meet other Vietnamese people, because you already know in America all the nail salons are done by Vietnamese people, right? And I would see Vietnamese women look down at me, because they knew I was Vietnamese and I was delivering the newspaper, right? And I remember them looking down at me. I remember the Indian people that own the gas stations, they would look down at me when I drop down, you know, because they thought, you know, I was just a worthless Asian guy, you know, delivering the newspaper every day. And I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit, right? I just came out of prison. I needed to make some money, and I didn't want to do anything that break the law and put me back in prison, right? And so I was doing that, and then I was working as a bouncer and a club promoter in downtown 6th Street, right? And even when I was doing all this shit to help my mom, my stepmom, and my little sister escape the poverty that they were in, right? They would not do anything all their lives to escape poverty, okay? But the minute they saw me get off my ass and go work 2-3 jobs to try to help the family escape poverty, they would get off their ass and do everything they could to block me from escaping poverty, okay? My family was no different than the prison guards that were trying to prevent me from escaping from prison, okay? It was no different, right? And that's why I stress so much for you guys to be clear on your goals, right? Because if you're clear on your goals that you want to be out of poverty, you want to be out of this prison in the office job, you want to be escaping the prison of the corporate world, and you want to genuinely escape that prison of poverty, you have to be clear on your goals that this is what you want, okay? Remember, not everybody wants to escape poverty. There are more people in this world that enjoy living in poverty than they do living in wealth, like I am right now. And the reason why is because when you live in a wealthy lifestyle like I do right now, there's nobody feeling sorry for you. There's nobody feeling sorry for you. There's nobody saying, oh, Ty, you know, oh, man, you know, you're living on the 10th floor, you know, in your high-rise condo. That sucks. You're not living on the 70th floor, right? Nobody's saying, oh, you know, that sucks. You live, you know, 2 blocks from the most luxurious shopping center in Southeast Asia. That sucks that your condo is not directly connected to the shopping center, so you can just go down the elevator and walk right into the shopping center. There ain't nobody fucking bitching, complaining to you about shit like that. Nobody feeling sorry for you, right? Nobody's feeling sorry, oh, Ty, you gotta go through 3 or 4 layers of security before you can get to the front door of your condo, you know. Oh, that sucks that you live in such a safe place compared to the shit ghetto that you used to grow up in downtown Port Arthur, Texas, right? Nobody's feeling sorry for you when you dream or you have a desire to live a wealthy lifestyle, okay? Nobody is going to feel sorry for you, right, or for me when I go to downtown Saigon and I'm living in all the 5-star hotels when I go there and all the girls are checking you out, okay? Nobody is fucking doing that. However, if you live in poverty, there's a ton of people that will feel sorry for you. Oh, man, that sucks, man. Perspective, Mr. Perspective, 9428. Oh, man, we feel sorry for you because you got out of prison. You've been in prison for 13 years. You've been out for 10. You haven't come up on your feet yet, you know. Oh, man, that sucks, man. You're black, man. That's why society's holding you down, you know. You know, they're always trying to hold a brother down, you know. They got that foot on your neck, man, you know. There ain't nobody feeling sorry for you. There ain't nobody feeling sorry for you, right? So there are some people out there that genuinely love to live in poverty because they love the good feeling that they get when somebody feels sorry for them, you know. I think that in psychology or whatever they call it, victim mentality, right? Because when you live in poverty, you can be a victim. You can't fucking claim to be a victim when you're living in 5-star hotels and driving Lambos and Ferraris and living in $1 million condos, high-rise condos in downtown Bangkok. You know, it's really hard to complain. You know, it's hard for me to play the victim card now. You know, it's like, hey man, I'm a victim. You know, it's hard to do that, right? So it's very easy when you're not clear on your goals, right? Then the other people around you will force their goals on you. That's how nature works, right? I remember when I was in prison, the minute I come into prison, there's guys testing me. There's guys that want to impose their ideas and beliefs on me. I remember this one black dude, right? He tried to impose his idea on me that I was going to be his little bitch and his little girlfriend, right? That he can just butt fuck whenever he wants, right? And he tried to rape my ass when I was 18 years old, right? So if you don't protect your clear financial goals and the goals that you want to be in life, then there will be other Leroys and Tyrones that will come and impose their ideas and their beliefs on you. Okay? So when I first came to prison, right, I'm just calling these guys Leroy and Tyrone guys because that's a common stereotype in America, right? That the big black guys that want to rape your ass in prison, they call them Leroys or Tyrones. And then the white guys, we would call them Bubbas, okay? So I'm saying that so that you guys outside of America can appreciate the wonderful stereotypes that we have inside of America, okay? Because they're very unique, okay? If you don't, when I was in prison, you know, Leroy and Tyrone tried to impose their sexual fantasies on me. When I came out of prison, right, I had my stepmom and sister impose their poverty mindsets on me. Okay? And so because I was clear on my goals, I was able to defend against these rapes attacks in prison, and I was able to defend myself against these poverty attacks outside of prison. And that's why I say to you guys to be clear on your goals so that you are very clear. So when somebody tells you, oh, Ty, you just came out of prison, you know, you're a high school dropout, you'll never be a millionaire. In your mind, you don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to say it out loud, but in your mind, you got to be able to say, man, that's your goals. That's your poverty mindset. That's your poor dreams. That's your poverty dreams. Hey, and I'm not going to blame you for it, but I'm not going to allow you to impose your goals onto me. Okay? So, for you guys, I remember when I was coming out of prison, right? The other guys, and that's how nature works, guys. It's obvious to see these things when other guys try to impose their will and their beliefs on you in prison. It's because, you know, in prison there's no computers and at the time when I was in there was no computers, cell phones, and all this stuff, you know. It's very primitive and it's very, very raw, and there was no mask. There's all these masks, you know, that you put on in society anymore, right? It's very clear on what's going on. So it's very easy to see when somebody imposes their wills, their goals, and their beliefs on top of you. But when you come out to society, you know, you're masked by, you can't see because you're covered by the mask of society. You know, everything's a fake out here. There, you know, a lot of things are fake, a lot of things that are just, it's just a mask that everybody wears out here. And it's hard to see the truth, okay, when people is trying to impose, you know, like, for example, like my stepmom, she's wearing a mask that she cares for me. But then she's trying to impose her poverty mindset onto me to keep me poor. For example, she would say like, hey, you know, stop trying to become a millionaire. Stop trying to be rich, you know. That's what got you in prison in the first place, right? And now you come out of prison, you want to be rich and you want to be wealthy again. Look at you, you're going to go back to prison. So she was trying to impose her will and her beliefs to remain poor onto me, okay? So that, if it's a good thing that I stayed clear that I wanted to become wealthy, because I value having free speech. I value being able to say what I want to say. The reason why I can sit here and say what I want to say, you know, with you guys right now, is because I have money. It's just that simple. I can just sit here, I can run my mouth for another 10 hours if I wanted to. Ain't nobody gonna stop me, ain't nobody gonna say shit, right? Because that's what money allows me to do, right? Money also allows me to do the things that I want to do to influence society, right? If I did not have enough money to live in this $1 million condo, it would be very difficult for you guys to sit here this long and listen to me, right? If I was living in a grass hut, or if I was living in the shitty ghetto, right? If I was living in the mobile home and the trailer that I was living in inside the ghetto in downtown Port Arthur, right? You guys would not be sitting here this long listening to me. That's the reality. That's the reality, right? My beautiful wife, she would not be with me for this long if I didn't make this kind of money, okay? So, speaking of trailer, right? You guys know how, if you guys live in America, you would know how poor we are, okay? Like, even the poor black people in the ghetto neighborhood I live in Section 8 housing or government housing. Even though they were poor, they didn't have to live in a trailer, okay? Our family was so poor that we had to live in a trailer. And we lived in a trailer for like, I think like 7 or 8 years before I went to prison. Okay, so that's imagine living in a ghetto, in a trailer, in a ghetto. Okay, it doesn't get any poorer than that. Okay, so if I can do it, man, any of you guys can do it. Okay, it's not that hard. All right, and I'm saying this to the guys that are struggling out there, like Perspective 9428. Is that if you're not clear on your goals, like I was, it's very easy for other people to impose their goals on you. Okay, and that's just how society works, man. That's how society works. If you go out there and you look at a pack of dogs, when they meet each other, they fight each other, and then one of them will finally roll over, expose his neck, and show that to the other dog that, okay, man, you're more dominant. I'm just gonna go along with what you say, man. Okay, you don't have to keep attacking me and biting me in the ass anymore. Okay, so they expose their jugular, their neck like this, right? So they do that, all right? And some similar stuff happens like that in prison too, right? So out here in the world, you got to be very careful when you go out there and you let other poverty mindset people impose their will on you. That's one. And then the second thing that I would say that prevents people from reaching their financial goals much earlier is that their actions don't jive with their goals, right? Like, for example, I would see guys come out of prison and they would say like, oh man, it's gonna be hard to come up. It's gonna be, the parole officer's gonna try to put me back in prison, or a lot of guys come back to prison within the first 30 days or 90 days, right? It's tough out there, if you got a felony record, things like that. And you have to ask yourself, like, why are you listening to all that dumb shit for? Like, before I came out of prison, I remember other prisoners telling me that, oh, like, just try to get a job and just coast, just live an easy, average life. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing big because you got a felony record and shit, And I never let that stop me. I came out of prison. I remember trying to work in a real estate company, try to get my real estate license. They denied me because they wouldn't let me because I had a felony record. I didn't give a shit. I tried to get into insurance sales. They denied me because I had a felony record, so they wouldn't let me get an insurance license. I didn't give a shit, right? I tried to trade commodities, right? And they denied me, to trade commodities for other people and wouldn't give me a license because I had a felony record. I didn't give a shit. I said, you know what? Fuck all these licenses. I'm just gonna go do it myself, right? And that's what I did. I never let somebody say no to me impose their will and their belief systems on me, right? And I see a lot of guys, right? They come out, and when I was working in the corporate world, I would see the other guys, my coworkers, smoke weed and hang around guys that did not care about making money. And they wonder why they're broke, and they wonder why they still work in the corporate job, and they wonder why 5 years later, 10 years later, things haven't changed, right? And if you want to make life-changing profits, you got to be clear on your goals, but then you also got to make really hard decisions, right? Like I had to abandon my stepmom. I had to abandon my sister, and I had to just leave them. Why? Because they did not want to live wealthy lives. If you do anything that shows that you're going to make some money, they will get off their ass, get off the couch, and do everything they can to sabotage what I did. Anytime, if I showed actions, right, behaviors that I wanted to remain poor and in poverty, they would support me 100%. But if I did anything, if I said anything, if I did anything that indicated that I wanted to become wealthy and escape poverty, right, they would get off their ass immediately and try to sabotage everything I did. Okay? Many of you guys, if you guys have been following me for a long time, you guys know that even though I'm a multi-millionaire right now, many of you guys know that my uncle and my dad are actually homeless near the Houston area, right? I think my uncle's not homeless anymore, but for a long time, you can pretty much say he was homeless. My dad, you can pretty much say he's homeless, right? And you might say, hey, Ty, why would you do that? Why would you become a multi-millionaire? You can easily buy a house or a property for your uncle or your dad, They took care of you when you grew up, right? I can't do that because they don't want that. Matter of fact, if I tell them, if I ask to buy a house for them, they will actually hate me even more. They'll cuss me out and do all kinds of shit, right? So you can't focus on the people that don't want to go in the same direction that you want to go into. right? Like right now, right? My dad is homeless, right? My mom, right? Even though I came back to Vietnam to help her, right, and make sure that she lives a good life because she was sick and she wanted to see me one last time. That's why I left America and came back to Vietnam, right? I came back to Vietnam. I see the shithole that she's living in. I'm like, I can't fucking let my mom live like this. There's no way I'm gonna be able to live in a you know, live in $1 million house and then let my mom live in a shithole like that. There's no fucking way. And everything that I tried to do to help her get out of that shithole that she was living in, what do you think she did? She would try to sabotage my efforts. My little brother, he lives in a shithole. My God, like I'm a pretty strong guy. It takes a lot to affect my feelings and my emotions. It takes a lot. Like you're not gonna fucking easily affect my feelings and my emotions, right? I mean, you just have to really, really do something, right? Like you can stab me in prison, right, and hit me in the head with a lock and a sock, you know. You would not see one tear come out of me, right? You would see me beat the fuck out of you, but you will not see one tear come out of me. So it takes a lot for me to shed a tear. Because why? Because men don't fucking shed tears. Men don't fucking cry. Okay? Little boys cry. Men don't fucking cry. All right? So but I had to shed a tear because I thought I was living in poverty in America, growing up in the ghetto. But when I came back to Vietnam and I saw how poor my little brother and my mom was living, you know, it really hurt, man. It really, really hurt to see them live that poor, man, you know. And I tried to do everything I could to get my little brother and my mom out of that poverty, right? And guess what? I never imagined that they would do everything they could to stop me and prevent me from helping them get out of poverty. They did everything, even right now, they do everything they can to sabotage my efforts. And I'm at a point where, hey, you know what? I can't continue doing that. I can't continue letting someone that wants to live in poverty affect me. Okay? So the reason why I was able to make that decision, right, and let go. Now I still take care of my mom. I still send her money for medication, for food, for all her living expenses every month. Okay? So my brother, I don't send him any money because I already tried many, many times to help him escape poverty, and he despises me for even trying to help him. Like, he despises me. Okay, you guys don't understand how bad it is, okay? But he despises me for the fact that it's huge, massive ego, okay? Like I said, that's why I said the root cause of all poverty is ego. It has nothing to do with the lack of capital or lack of education, right? It's the ego is what keeps people in poverty, okay? Because they think they know everything, they think they know better, they think that they don't need your help to escape poverty, okay? So the reason why I stress so much that you guys are clear on your goals and what you want in life and your especially your financial goals is so that you don't let all these broke asses around you that enjoy living in poverty hurt you from trying to reach your wealth, okay, and to make life-changing profits in your life, all right? I'm going to check the comments and see what you guys ask here, right? 1010 asked, do you have a tax accountant since you live outside the U.S.? Yeah, of course I do. I mean, taxes is your biggest expense in life. And you want to get professionals to help you figure that out, especially if you don't know it, right? So, 10 trying to ask, I'm living in Ho Chi Minh City. My goal is that my son and I will work and study in Australia in the next 2 years. How can I finish my goal? I mean, I don't know what he's doing right now. I don't know what you're doing right now, Trent, and I don't really know why. I'm not sure why you want to go to Australia for either, because there's lots of opportunities in Ho Chi Minh City, right? So I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what you're currently doing in Ho Chi Minh City, and I don't know the reason why you want to go to Australia for. Okay. Glitch says, I remember watching you guys way back in the day. Yeah, back in the days, man. Like before 2017, there was no other channel talking about trading and investing and making life-changing profits in the cryptocurrency market. We were the only ones, right? Bill Smith says, hey Ty, viewing that Ledger hard wallet is no longer safe to use. Viewing that the hardware wallet is no longer safe to use. What are the wallets you recommend? I don't know why you're saying that, Bill Smith. The Ledger hardware wallet is the one that we recommend all our students use and all our clients use and everything. And that's the ones that we personally use, right? We use the Ledger and the Trezor. So I don't know why I don't know why you're saying that, Bill, right? You have to give me a good reason why it's not safe, okay? You can't just give me an opinion without giving me the technical reason why. Anon asks, how do you retire with $200,000 in Vietnam or Southeast Asia, right? Because the cost of living is significantly less, right? You don't have all the bullshit costs. Like, for example, like if you want health care in Southeast Asia, you just go in and see the specialist or the doctor. They don't have all that political bullshit where they set it up to where you have to pay for to see a general doctor first, and then the general doctor recommends the specialist, and right. In America, the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies control healthcare, right? So everything has to go through the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies, and because of that, the cost of healthcare is massively high in the U.S. right, and in the Western countries. But if you come to Southeast Asia, right, the governments do what they can to prevent the healthcare industry from taking advantage of the people. So a lot of the predatory practices that they have in the West, they don't allow here. So that reduces the cost of healthcare. The cost of food is a lot less because the labor cost over here is a lot less. So imagine how much you have to pay for someone to farm and to grow an apple or pick an apple in America versus over here in Southeast Asia, right? The labor cost is much lower. So because of that, everything costs way less, right? And the reason why it also costs way less is because the governments do not collect a lot of taxes from the citizens. And it's not easy to collect taxes from the citizens. So because of that, the governments cannot just spend their money on anything they want. For example, they can't go and spend money on building military bases, 500 military bases around the world, right, like the U.S. does, because they do not collect, they cannot collect taxes from the people. The people refuse to pay that much taxes for the government to go and do stupid shit, right, and go invade other countries and stuff. And so because of that, the amount of taxes that they pay to the governments is very low. So because of that, the governments do not build infrastructure that the people don't need. So for example, like when I was living in America, right, the road that comes up to my house is like you can park a car on each side of the road, and then you can still have space in the middle to drive down up to my house. From the main road, you can still drive up to my house. So there's enough room for 3 cars to go that lane. But every day, there's only like 20 people that live in my cul-de-sac, and so the maximum is like maybe 8 or 9 cars use that road every day, but there's enough lanes for 3 cars. So think about that. In Asia, they don't do dumb shit like that. They will not build a 3-lane road for 8 cars to use every day. They refuse to do that. And they're not going to build a sidewalk on each side of the road so that 2 people can use it each day. They're not going to do that. The government only spends money on infrastructure where they see hundreds and thousands of people using, then they will spend the money to go build that. So because of that, low taxes and less infrastructure spending, you have a situation in Southeast Asia where the cost of living is significantly less because you're not paying for all these extra stuff that you don't need, okay? So that's how it's a lot less. And with $200,000, you can live, if you're a single guy, you can live comfortably with $700 or $800 a month. If you have a family of 4, you can live comfortably with $1,000 or $1,100 or $1,200, right? That would be the living on $1,200 a month for a family of 4 in Southeast Asia is the equivalent of living on like $40,000 or $50,000 a year in the U.S. or like $50,000, $60,000 a year after COVID, right? So that's how. And then in Vietnam, we helped about a couple of dozen students, the ones that invested into our cryptocurrency investing blueprint. They were able to make the money in 2021 and put $200,000 away. And if you take $200,000, right, times 0.07, right, that's $14,000 a year, right? $14,000 a year divided by 12 months, right? That's about $1,100 right there. And if you're a young guy, you know, you're not going to be a lazy bum and just lay on the hammock at the beach every day and just drink coconut water, right? You're probably going to go out there and find some part-time work to do. So that $1,100 is plenty of money for you to help take care of your family. And then you find some part-time work for extra money. So that should be plenty for you to live until the next bull market comes in. Then you take more profits, right? So that's how we're able to help our students retire early with just $200,000. Kong Lei says, hey Ty, my mistake from the last bull market was not have a clear goal because the profit I made was not what I wanted to achieve. Yeah, a lot of people, they set unrealistic goals. Like if you hear somebody say, hey, I want to make $1 million, right? I know that that's not a real goal. Because a real goal has a clear number. It's not a whole round even number like $1 million, okay? So DJ Dax says, been here since the beginning, appreciate your content. Yeah, I mean, we've been here broadcasting and we haven't changed. We don't remove any videos and we share with you guys exactly what we did, you know. So Tan Chong Win asks, if I'm a dual citizen, Vietnamese, Australian, can you use my Vietnamese ID to open an account to buy, sell crypto to not pay capital gains tax, right? I'm not going to answer a question about breaking the law because you're asking me how to break the laws in Australia, so I'm not going to answer that. I said before that, you know, that one of the commitments I made to myself was that I was not going to do anything to break the law or violate any ethics or morals. So the question you're asking me involves breaking the tax laws in Australia. So I'm not going to answer that. Okay. So is this helping you guys out, guys? It's setting clear goals. When people enter the markets, they think that technical analysis and selecting the right coin is what helps you make life-changing profits. No one ever realizes it's the goals. And I will prove to you guys this, why having clear goals helps you make life-changing profits faster. When our students make a, we have lots of students. Like I told you guys, like around 100 students called me or texted me to thank me for helping them become a millionaire, right? And after, I remember like the first, we had about 30 millionaires in 2017 bull market. And within 6 months later, by the middle of 2018 or towards the end of 2018, there might have only been like a dozen millionaires left. Why? How did we help 30 people become millionaires and then 6 months, 8 months later, they're no longer millionaires, right? And the reason is because they didn't take profits. They didn't take profits. Like we can teach you everything we know in the cryptocurrency investing blueprint, but we cannot force you to take profits. We can only tell you, hey man, when you have these goals and the market gives you, if you have this much goals in your life to change your life and the market gives you this much money, right? You should take a piece of that out and change your life. Like you shouldn't wait for it to go bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you need this much money to change your life, right? And the market gives you this much money. Hey man, like that's enough. Like obviously if the market only gives you this much, you can't take out this much, right? If the market only gives you this much profits and you need this much, then what you do is you just take out that little piece and wait until the bear market, right? And then buy more and then wait until the next cycle. But if you're in that cycle and you need this much and the market gives you this much, then what are you waiting for? Take it out and change your life. And we had a situation where students will not do that in 2017. And we tell them, this is the biggest mistake, guys. You're not being clear on your goals. And that's why you didn't take profits. You just keep waiting for the money to go up and higher and higher and higher. Why do you need $2 million for? Why do you need for it to go up to $5 million or $10 million for? You need $200,000 in Vietnam to retire and quit your job. Why don't you take that $200,000 out when you have an opportunity? Why are you waiting for it to go up to half a million, a million, 10 million for? Why? If all you need is $200,000 to make a change, an immediate change in your life, why are you not doing that? Right? We had students that needed $2 million to make a change in their life, right? And their portfolio is at 3 million, and I would tell them, like, why aren't you taking out that 2 million? Take out that 2 million, quit your job, go retire. Why are you still working for? Right? Now, there are people that enjoy their job, they enjoy their prestige, they enjoy the position they have in the company. Like, for example, we have a team member, right? He is currently still working. Even though his portfolio is over $10 million, right? He is still working, right? He's a software engineer, and he just loves working on big software projects. Also, because they pay him like $350,000, $400,000 a year, okay? And he has a very high position in the company that he works at, right? And it's very prestigious for him and his family and everyone back in his village in India. So because of that, he's not going to quit. And we ask him all the time, like, hey, how come you haven't quit yet? And he says, well, they're paying me almost $400,000 a year, and I have a high position in the company. Why would I quit for it, right? So, and he goes, I like to build the latest technology, the latest software, and he likes to build stuff. So he's not going to quit, right? So even though he's made a ton of money and he can quit, he has no desires to quit, right? And I make fun of him all the time. I say, hey, man, you know, if you took that money back to India, you know that you can build you a 100-story home and be the richest guy in your village? And he laughs about it, but he just likes the challenge of building, you know, high-level software. So now, if that's the case, right, then that's the case. I can understand that, right? So, but Anon asks, would you want to reconnect with those family members if they decide to change their mindsets? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm sitting here, you know, helping you guys out to make life-changing profits, right? Why wouldn't I help my own brother or my own dad or my own mom or my own uncle or my own family member? Of course I would, right? But I can't do it until they want to do it, right? Pat asks, curious, how do you manage your will for your crypto? What is your backup plan if you die? Okay, so one thing that so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up a family office to manage the money from my family. So a family office is a company that manages the wealth and invests that money for one family, and that's it. So that's called a single family office. And a multi-family office would be a company that manages the money for, like, you know, a dozen people or so, right? For more than one family, right? So, for example, like the Rockefeller family office, they only manage money for the descendants of the Rockefeller family. Okay, so the Zen family office, that's going to just manage the money for the people in my family, and then the crypto. I have the crypto set up so that in case something happens, my wife would take the hardware wallets and the seed words, and they would go to my business partner leonfu.com, and then he would transfer the money for them whenever they need it, and I just pay my business partner a percentage, like, you know, 5-10%, whatever, of the funds that he transfers. And so I let my business partner Leon to manage that for my wife and kids if I die early, okay? And then if something happens to him, then it would go to my other business partner, David. The reason why the crypto and the money does not go to my wife or my kids is because they don't know anything about it, okay? Because I don't believe in putting money into the hands of people that don't know how to protect money, manage money, invest the money, grow the money, and keep it safe, right? So my wife refuses to learn about money. She refuses to learn about how to protect it. She refuses to learn about how to grow it. She refuses to learn how to do anything with it, okay? So because of that, I cannot put money into her hands, okay? Right? So Yeah, Pat says the best is to put it in a safety deposit box. Yeah, just put your will and your seed words in a safety deposit box, right? And that's it, right? Um, from a G perspective, Dan, you just read my comment. Good looking. Oh, okay. So it's the same from a G perspective as from the other perspective 9428. Yeah, yeah. I'm saying that because I've seen a lot of people, not just you, G perspective. It's not just you. It's a lot of guys I see come out of prison, and they let all these poor people hold them down, right? And that's why I say that if you're clear on your goals, right? Like when my mom says, "Hey, Ty, just my stepmom when she said, "Hey, just go work your 9 to 5 job, come home, watch TV like the rest of us, and be satisfied, be content," right? She's trying to impose her poverty will, her poverty mindset on me, and I was clear that I wanted to become a multimillionaire and become wealthy, so that I have freedom of speech and freedom to do what I want and freedom, location independence in my life, right? So because of that, I was very clear on that. I just never let anything that she says affect me. Never. I never let anything that she says affect my feelings or my emotions because this is what I wanted to do, right? Now, when I left the U.S. to come back and retire in Vietnam, right? I have family members, say that, "Oh, don't do that. You're stupid." It was very easy for me to make that decision. I went and consulted with the lawyers and the accountants, and they told me what options I had, right? And I made the decision, right? Why? Because I knew what my goals were, right? If one thing that I would say to G Perspective, who just came out of prison, who's been out of prison for 10 years now, and to any new prisoners that's about to come out of prison, or even if you're not a prisoner, you're just working a corporate job, and you're just a regular guy, right? You never went to prison or anything, and you're still stuck in that job, that job or that environment, and you don't know how to escape it, right? The first thing I would do is I would just relocate to a different environment so I don't have all the negative people around me. And then the next thing I would do is I would cut off anybody that was not helping me go along that same path, right? I remember when I was in prison, all the guys that were smoking weed in prison, they would all hang out with each other. All the guys that wanted to work out and get big and strong, we would all hang out together. All the guys that wanted to play basketball, they would all hang out with each other. All the guys that loved to play poker, they would all hang out with each other. All the guys that wanted to shoot heroin, they would all hang out with each other. All the guys that were trying to invest into the stock market and the commodities market while they were in prison, they would all be together, right? And I'm saying this to G Perspective and to anybody else that has not made the life-changing profits yet, and you've been at it for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you're wondering like, why am I not making any progress, right? Why am I not getting closer to having financial freedom or living the life that I want? It's usually because one, you're in a poverty environment, right, where there's a lot of poor poverty mindset people that impose their poverty mindset on you, and you actually believe it. You actually allow yourself to believe this poverty bullshit that they impose on you. And that's the reason, right? I remember when I was working the clubs on 6th Street in downtown Austin, in the club district on 6th Street, in a club called Spill Martini Bar, right? I remember the clubs all close at 2 o'clock. By law, they have to close at 2 o'clock, right? And then it takes us an hour to clean up, and then after that, we clean up for an hour, and then from 2 to 3 o'clock, and then from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we're waiting for the bartenders to count the tip money that they receive that night, and they give 10% of us to all the bouncers and the club promoters. So I was one of the bouncers, I was one of the club promoters. So I'm sitting around waiting for them to count the tip money so they can give us 10% of it, right? And I remember the other guys, they were taking shots. Hey, let's take a shot here. Let's do this. Let's get drunk here. Smoke a joint there. Do all this shit, and talk shit to girls and stuff like that. And in my backpack, I would take out my technical analysis book and I would just sit there and read my technical analysis books. And I remember everybody at that club, right, most of the guys that saw me doing this, they would refer to me as, "Oh, there you go, Mr. Wall Street," right? Which stock should we buy, Mr. Wall Street? Or, "Hey, how's the market looking, Mr. Wall Street?" And they would make fun of me. They would laugh at me. for reading a technical analysis book at 3 o'clock in the morning while we were sitting there waiting for the bartenders to give us our tips, right? So we can go home, right? And I did not see that as a deterrence. I did not let them impose their poverty mindset on me. I was clear on my goal that I was going to become $1 million trader someday. I was going to become a $1 million investor someday. And I refuse to let anybody say anything or do anything to stop me from going there, right? You guys remember that I shared with you guys when I first came out of prison. In the first month I came out of prison, right? This white guy, right, that lived in the lake area of Austin, really good guy, right? He took me, showed me around Austin, you know, and he introduced me to one of his white friends, and the white friend said, "What? You've been in prison for almost 14 years? That means you haven't been with a girl, you haven't slept with a girl, nothing?" I go, "No, they don't let you sleep with girls in prison. Like, why would they do that?" Right? And he goes, "Man, there's no way that I'm going to sit here with someone that's been in prison since they were 18 years old and never had sex with a woman, you know." And I remember him taking out 5 $100 bills, and he took it out of his wallet and he slammed it on the table, and he said, "You know what? I refuse to sit here and watch a guy sit in prison for 14 years and not have any poontang or not get any sex from a woman and sit here and not do something about it. I'm putting up $500 right now. I'm taking you to go get laid right now," right? And I told him, I said, I looked at him, I said, "You know what? If you really want to help me out, man, I prefer if you just loan me that $500 so I can go invest into the stock market," right? And he looked at me like I was batshit, stupid, retarded or something. He looked at me like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you saying? You'd rather take this $500 and go invest into the stock market than to go have sex with a woman right now after not having sex with a woman for almost 14 years, right?" And I said, "Well, you know," I said, "if I make money, you know, there's going to be plenty of sex. But if I'm broke, right, ain't no woman going to want to have sex with me, right?" And he just looked at me like he couldn't believe that I said that. And that was the truth. I didn't give a shit about having sex with a woman or not. Why? Because I was clear on my goals. And I was not going to let some temporary emotions or feelings and go bang a girl for 30 seconds, right? And feel good for 5 minutes and then go back and be broke again. I was not going to waste money on that, right? And you guys might think like, "Oh, Ty, you know, there's no way that I would rather focus on learning how to trade or invest into the stock market after being in prison for 14 years. I'm going to go find a girl, bang the shit out of her first," right? Well, again, guys, that's why I'm making this video. That's exactly why I am making this video, right? Because if your goal is to have sex first, right, then just be clear about it. Don't fool yourself and say, "Oh, you know what? Sex has priority for me over making money." If you say that, well, then you're not serious about making life-changing profits. Like my older brother, right? He was in prison for 30 years, you know, for drugs and guns that he didn't have, and then Trump let him out early. He was supposed to do another 5 years, and they let him out early, right? His primary goal is to bang as many girls as he can, right? Because he feels like, you know, the government put him in prison for 30 years for bullshit that he didn't do, and now he's got to make up for lost time. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but at least he's being honest with himself. You know, he has no desires to become a millionaire. He has no desires, right, to become, you know, wealthy or anything like that. He says those days are over for him, right? He just needs to get laid by some girls, and that's it. That's all he cares about, right? As long as his stomach is full, if he eats 1 ramen noodle a day, right, and he gets to bang 1 girl, right, he's happy. That's it. That's all he wants. But the difference with him and with some of our students is that he's very clear on his goals. He's not lying to himself. He's not lying, "Oh, you know what? I just want to bang girls and be a millionaire." Like, he's not lying to himself about that. And he's very clear on what his goals are. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying what your goals, if you want to smoke weed all day and get drunk all day, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying in this video is to be clear on your goals so that your actions fit your goals, okay? Jackknife says, where do you learn about family offices? right? How to set one up and if it makes sense for you or not. Book recommendation. Nah, there ain't none. You got to talk to a bunch of fucking lawyers, man, right? I had to go talk to a few family offices and a few funds to do that, Jackknife. And the cost to operate a family office, okay, is a lot. Okay, it's like $50,000 to $100,000 a year to maintain it. So if you don't have a big enough portfolio to where you can pay $50,000 to $100,000, that's minimum. That's just a very, very conservative minimum. Okay, whether you set up your family office, if you set up your family office in Singapore, it's a minimum of like $300,000 a year to maintain it. Okay, and then if you set up in Dubai, it's like I don't see how it can be less than $50,000 to $100,000 a year because you got to pay for the family office licenses, and then you got to pay for the custodians, and you got to pay for the trust. You got to pay for a bunch of people to maintain all that services for your family. Okay, so that's not a low cost. I would wait until you can make sure that you have enough money to pay $50,000 to $100,000 a year before you consider setting up a family office, right? Once I set up my family office, then I will probably create a course or a program to share with other people, so you can reach out to us whenever we have that, right? From a G perspective, he asks, yeah, usually the country is way dirtier than prison. The county attitude on filth is different. Okay. Jackknife asks, can you discuss goals after your financial goals are met? How do you find meaning and happiness and stop chasing finances when you no longer need to? Okay, so that's a good question, Jackknife. So on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's a pyramid, right? If you guys go look it up, Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? On the bottom, right, you have these goals with like food and shelter and personal protection and security. And once you get that, you get financial freedom, right? Now I have the money to do what I want and live the life that I want. The next thing above that, right, for me personally, I can only speak for me, okay? There's higher levels, right? Right now, the biggest thing that I aim for, and the reason why I still broadcast on these videos, is what I consider influence. There's a lot of negative influence in the world. There's a lot of negative, fake information out there that are fake and negative, and there's a lot of things that I dislike about how information is being spread on the internet. Okay, and so my goal in broadcasting is to share clear, concise, and real-world information that's not a bunch of hypey bullshit, right? And that's the reason why I broadcast on this channel, because when I was growing up, when I came out of prison, I just wanted to find accurate information from people that were not trying to sell courses, people that were just hyping up bullshit, and people that didn't do the stuff that we do, right? Now, I say that, and then you guys see down here, it says cryptocurrency.market/blueprint, which is our course, right? But there's a big difference in us selling our course, right? Because our course, the Cryptocurrency Investing Blueprint, is a course that I made for my kids and my grandkids, and that's going to be the education component inside our family office. So it's mandatory for my kids in the future, before they touch my money and the inheritance that I leave to them, they have to complete the Cryptocurrency Investing Blueprint so they understand about money and finances, okay? So it's not just a course that teaches you about how to make life-changing profits in crypto. It's a course that teaches you about finances and how to maintain how to create wealth in your life. So it's not just about crypto, it's about how to create wealth in your life. So my kids and grandkids have to go through that course, right? So I made that course for my kids and my grandkids. I didn't create that course for you guys. Now, if you guys want to learn what is in that course, then yes, you will have to pay to learn it, okay? It's not for free, right? But the selling that course does not make us life-changing profits. For example, the English version of the Cryptocurrency Investing Blueprint, I don't even think we sold more than, I think we sell on average like one course a month, okay? So if we sell one course a month, how is that gonna allow me to live in $1 million condo? I don't see how selling a $2,000 course once a month is going to allow me to maintain this lifestyle. And we have 3 business partners, me, Leon, and David. How is it going to allow us to live in $1 million condos? right? That doesn't even make any sense. So that course is for our kids and our grandkids and our family, right? Our descendants. If you guys want to learn it, you guys are welcome to learn what's in that course. You can register right here and get a copy of it, okay? So right now that I have achieved financial freedom, my goal is to use my time and the money that I have to try to influence and make a change in the world in the areas that I believe that I can influence and change, right? And there's two areas that I like to focus on. One is, well, there's three areas that I like to focus on, right? So you'll see me like talk about these subject matters quite often, right? One is how to be a strong masculine man, right? I see that when I first came to America, right, it was obvious how to be a strong masculine man. But since the internet was invented in the 90s, I realized that there's a massive gap. Like the young men that grow up nowadays, they don't know how to be strong masculine men anymore, right? Because there's so many fake stuff out there, and there's so many fake guys on the internet, and young people are clouded by who these real men are. For example, like you see somebody like, for example, like in the crypto world, right? You got all these fake ass men who make a lot of money, and we think that they're real men, they're strong masculine men, but they're not. They're a bunch of fucking pussies, right? Like for example, like we got guys like BitBoy Crypto, we got guys like Richard Hart, we got guys that are making a shitload of money in crypto, and because they have a large number of subscribers, the young boys nowadays grow up. The young boys think that these guys are the guys that we should look up to. But these guys are nothing but scammers, and these guys are nothing but scumbags. They are not men who benefit society, who bring value to society. And so I want to combat that issue. I want to combat that problem. The second thing that I go for, right, that Jack Knife is asking me about, is I go for misinformation and fake news. I think that the worst poison to humans today is the fake news and the fake information, okay? Which also leads to the third thing that I enjoy doing right now, is figuring out how to overcome the censorship that's happening on the internet, okay? As soon as I build my house, I'm gonna focus on building a project, a decentralized social media platform, okay? Because the world desperately needs a decentralized censorship. It's not even decentralized. The world just needs a censorship resistant, right, social media platform, okay? So where people can share their texts, their images, and their videos without being censored, okay? And right now we don't have that. We don't have that right now, okay? Don't tell me about these other decentralized platforms, right? Decentralization is not the goal. The goal is censorship resistant, okay? If you can still be censored, that's not a decentralized, it's not a censorship resistant social media platform, okay? So that's what the things that I focus on right now is broadcasting the message out there to influence the young boys to become strong masculine men that benefit their family and benefit society. And number two is to change the financial education that's on the market today. And number three is to find solutions to deal with the censorship that's on the internet. I don't want my kids growing up in a world where they cannot express their ideas and their beliefs, okay? So that's what drives me today, right? So like the reason why I'm sharing you with this right now, and I'm not getting paid to do this, I'm doing this out of my own free will and because I like to do it, is because this is dealing with the second goal that I have, is dealing with the misinformation about finances out there on the market, right? Here's another example, right? We go into the internet and we see guys like, I'll use this as an example because I just saw it recently, right? Like there's channels out there like Stephen Graham's channel, who became popular during the COVID, right? And then we got channels like the Tom Bilyeu channel, right? And these channels have millions of subscribers, right? So if anything, they have even more influence, massively way more influence than my small channel does, right? But do you think that the messages that they broadcast, right? Like I would say like 90% of the messages that they broadcast are very useful, right? But then there's that 10% that they broadcast, right? When they talk about business and finances, it seems like it makes sense, right? It seems like it sounds really good, it makes sense. And to the untrained person, they would swear up and down that these guys are good with their finances, which they are, right? And I'm not taking that away at all, okay? So don't think that I'm knocking them for their financial literacy or their financial knowledge or their influence in the financial world and in the entrepreneurship world or in the business world. They have massive influence in there. I highly recognize that. And I'm glad that there are guys out there educating the public about that. However, when they start talking about their relationships, their wives, or their girlfriends, or how they view women and stuff, these guys are a bunch of fucking beta males. Okay? These guys are a bunch of fucking soft ass men. Okay? And no matter how much money they make, no matter how much subscribers they have, they are broadcasting from a place of weakness. They're broadcasting from a place of a weak man. They're not broadcasting from a place of a strong masculine man. So regardless from the outside perspective, when we see how well they talk about finances and business and entrepreneurship and things like that, it's still coming from the perspective of a weak man. And how do we know that they're weak? Because they are letting women in their lives dominate and make decisions for them. And how do we know that? Well, we know that because of the statements they make of how they view women, how they view their wife, and things like that. It's coming from a perspective of a soft, weak man. It's not coming from the perspective of a strong, masculine man, right? And these are guys that, like for example, you know, the guys like Stephen Graham, right? The dude's a young dude, right? And he's never had to run into the struggles that would force him to become a strong, masculine man. Like when I grew up in the refugee camps in Malaysia, and I had to scrounge and scramble and hunt for birds and bees and bugs and insects and lizards and eat anything that moves, right? It forces you to become a stronger man. When I grew up in America and I live in a trailer park and I live in a ghetto, that forces you to have to, you go through these trials and tribulations in your life that forces you to become a strong masculine man, right? And when you're selling real estate like Stephen Graham and you're sitting there broadcasting and you're getting millions of subscribers, right? You might influence people and you are helping people with their financial education, which, you know, if we compare how many people we have helped with our financial education versus Stephen Graham or like a Tom Bilyeu or something, of course, they are magnitudes, okay? But the thing that concerns me is that we have the biggest channels that are broadcasting financial education, business, and all these things, but it's coming from the perspective of a very weak man. It's not coming from the perspective of a strong masculine man, okay? So that's my goal. My goal is to be able to broadcast, and the young men that grow up out there that are in the ghettos, that are in the poor environments, that are growing up, even if they're coming from a wealthy family, right? It's coming from a place where it's the ideas are coming from a strong masculine opinion, okay? Give me a minute, I gotta change the battery on this camera, okay? I'm not gonna end the live stream, I'm just gonna change the battery, so the video might cut out for 30 seconds. All right. All right, I'm back, guys. The reason why I have a power that runs into the camera, I'm using the Canon XA75 4K camcorder, right? You guys hear me now? Right? So, before when I ran power into this camcorder, right, it would create that buzzing noise. So that's why I have to use a battery, right? Okay, so those like the only person that I've seen that broadcasts their message from a strong masculine perspective is in my opinion is Andrew Tate, right? He's one of the few guys that I see that has been through enough trials and tribulations in his life to make him a strong masculine man, and he's also broadcasting the message where it's coming from a strong man's perspective and not from a weak man's perspective. Okay, so I am glad that he is doing that, and it sucks that he's getting accused of these false human trafficking charges that are completely bullshit. Like, if you ask somebody like me, or I'm sure that if you ask somebody like from a G's perspective, you know, where he's been in prison, we can tell the guys that it's not that hard to recognize the guys that are trafficking women and need to rape women or not. Okay. It sucks that he has to go through that, and I hope that he goes through it and wins, because if he does, you know, he'll come out and he'll be even stronger than and more influential than before, right? Jackknife says that people probably have a hard time selling at the top because they don't know what comes after, right? No. See, here's the thing that you guys got to be aware of, guys. There are got things in trading and investing that you guys think happen. Okay, like you guys have these imaginary scenarios in your head, like, oh, when the market goes up, this is what's going to happen, and this is what traders and investors do. What I'm sharing with you guys is what our team and our students really do. Like, we do it with real money in the markets, guys. So if I tell you guys that, hey, 100% of our students and our team members make this mistake, that's not something to take lightly. That's not something that you guys should say, oh, you know, that's maybe only Ty's team, or that's only Ty's students. It's not. It's the same common problem, right? Notice that I have never made a video on my channel in 10 years. On this channel in 10 years, you have not seen me make a single video where we talked about the biggest mistake that we made was in technical analysis, or the biggest mistake that our team and our students have made is in using bad technical analysis or using the wrong technical indicator. Never. And that's why it's so hard to I have to do this in every bear market. Like, if you go back and look at my channel and look at, you know, just search for the video, the biggest mistake that our students made, you'll see it. I'm sitting at like a swimming pool in Bangkok. I'm sitting in front of a swimming pool, I think it was, and I'm making a video at one of the other Bangkok condos I was in, where I'm telling you what the biggest mistake is. I'm saying the exact same thing in this video, except I'm trying to figure out how to explain it so you guys can clearly understand it, so you guys don't make that same mistake again, right? Bill Smith says, Ledger has introduced their seed recovery feature, and it's been a controversy since then. You should check it out. No, I already checked it out. Bill Smith, right? If you don't sign up for their recovery feature, you don't have access to that feature. It's that simple. So, I mean, if you don't sign up for it, then they cannot access your seed, right? That's what they say. And if they lie about it, it's going to be a massive lawsuit, and they're going to go out of business if they lie about that, okay? Frank Sam says, hey, Ty, student here for the profit, hey, Ty, student here. The profit for the next bull run, my plan is to put it into a CDs, T-bills, or buy rental properties and just live off of that. What do you think about that plan, or any recommendations? Yeah, that's what. So we have 3 spinning buckets in the cryptocurrency investing blueprint. We teach people how to manage these 3 buckets. managing these 3 buckets of money is more important than the technical analysis. If you understand how to manage these 3 buckets, it's hard for you to go poor, and it's much easier and faster for you to make life-changing profits, okay? So in these 3 buckets, you got the spending bucket. This is the money that you pay for your living expenses. Okay, so this is the living expense bucket or the spending bucket. This is the ammo bucket. This holds all your ammo, where this is the capital. This is the investing capital. And this is your HODL bucket, right? So this bucket holds the money that's in the markets that's growing and making money for you. And every bull market, we take money out of this bucket and we refill this bucket. Every quarter, we're going to rebalance these 2 buckets. But every time in every bull market, we're going to take money out of here and move it over here into the spending bucket, right? So when I say that our students retired early in Vietnam, they took $200,000 out of this HODL bucket or this investing bucket or this investing portfolio and put it over here into the spending bucket to pay for their living expenses. Now the money that goes in here never goes back this way. Remember that, guys. It only goes one way. This bucket is a one way. Money goes in here and that's it. It doesn't go back into the market. It doesn't go back into the ammo. Now the money that's in the ammo, it's 2 ways. Okay, it can go in, out, right? And it only goes in and out to this bucket, to the HODL bucket. Okay, this bucket, the money goes here. It goes out 2 ways. It's a 2-way street. It goes in and out of this one into the ammo bucket, and it goes in and out of the spending bucket or the expense bucket over here. But this expense bucket is only one way. Money goes in only. It doesn't go back out. Okay, if it goes out into your lifestyle to pay for your living expenses. Okay, so the money that's in here, yes, we do put this money in treasuries. Okay, yes, we do put this money into real estate properties, okay, for rentals, so that we can live off the income from these. Okay, so the money here is for low income generating assets, such as T-bills. They only pay like 3, 4, 5%, right? And then for real estate, that pays 3, 4, 5% income. Okay. Now, because we make significantly more money in the HODL bucket here by buying crypto and following the Taifu portfolio, the Taifu 30 crypto indexes, right? We know that every 2 to 4 years we're going to take a lump sum of money out of here and put it over here. So because of that, we actually on our team do not focus a lot on rental properties. We focus more on treasury T-bills. The reason why is because right now they're paying like 3, 4, 5%. And if you have $1 million in there and they're paying 4%, that's $40,000 a year, right? And if you have $2 million in there, that's $80,000 a year. And if you have $5 million in there, right? 40,000 for each million, 40,000 times $5 million, that's $200,000 a year income. And if you buy treasuries or bonds for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you have a $200,000 a year income for the next 10 years. Okay, so you don't even have to deal with rental properties, right? And the taxes are way better. The tax treatment on the treasuries are way better. And you don't have to deal with the headache about the plumbing, the clogged toilets, or any of that dumb shit. Okay, so we prefer to go with the bonds, the U.S. bonds, much better than the rental properties. But the rental properties are not wrong either. Okay. Okay. All right. I answered all the questions for you guys, right? And I hope that it helps you guys set more clear goals, because the more clear goals that you are, the reason why it's so important to have the clear goals is so that you know when to take profits and you know how to make accurate decisions, right? Someone asks you, hey man, let's go watch the Super Bowl. The answer is no, because I'm trying to make life-changing profits. I don't need to spend $1,000 to go buy tickets to go to the Super Bowl, because I can go buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin or Ethers or Cardano with it, right? If a guy says, hey man, let's go buy a bag of weed so we can smoke some weed and get high, and you say no, because I'm not going to go spend a couple $100 or money to go buy some weed every week when I can be buying Bitcoins, Ethers, Cardano, Polkadot with it, right? So those are the things, right? The goals are very clear. The more clear you are on your goals, the better it is for you to make a decision. It's very easy. When you guys get into a situation where you're like, man, I don't know how to make a decision on this. This is a really tough decision for me to make. I don't know if I should quit this job. I don't know if I should retire. I don't know if I should break up this relationship. I don't know if I should take this divorce. I don't know if I should break up with this girlfriend. I don't know if I should relocate back to Vietnam to live or relocate back to Colombia or Mexico to live, right? All these decisions, anytime that you guys finding yourself in a difficult position to make a decision, 100% of the time, it's because of these two reasons. One, you are not clear on your goals. And number two, right, you don't have all the information you need to make that decision. All right? Like for example, I'll give you guys an example. Right now, I've been spending months right now to set up the Taifu crypto hedge fund. Okay, I've been doing that, right, for months now. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm talking to lawyers, I'm talking to accountants, I'm talking to the custodians, I'm talking to the fund administrators, right, to set up our fund, right? And why is it taking me so long, right? The reason why it's taking me so long to make a decision whether I should have the hedge fund in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Thailand, in Dubai, in Cayman, in BVI, is because I don't have all the information I need, okay? But now I finally got it figured out. It's gonna be in the BVI, okay, to meet our needs, right? So the reason why I'm able to make a decision that I'm going to set up the crypto hedge fund in the BVI, right, for our team is because now I have all the information, okay? So that's how you make a decision. You can make decisions much more clearer, right, when you know exactly what you want, okay? If you want to make $1 million, right, and you say, hey, should I learn from this guy, or should I learn from this guy, or should I learn from this guy or this guy, right? It's very easy, right? If you know that, hey, I'm not content making $100. I'm not content making $1,000. I need to be able to make $1 million, grow my portfolio to $1 million, and know what to do with it once I get there. And I need to know that for certain, right? I can't be fucking around, grow my portfolio to $1 million, and be lost and not know what to do, right? Well, then you can look at our team and learn from us, from our course and from our team, because I clearly broadcast to you guys that our channel is dedicated towards helping people grow their portfolio to a 7, 8, 9-figure portfolio, right? Now, you might say, hey, there's other guys out there that teach crypto investing also. Yeah, but do they know how to teach you what to do with a 7, 8, 9-figure portfolio? Right? Are they saying that? If they're not saying that, well, maybe that's not the right team or the right people to learn from. Okay? Now, if you want to learn about real estate, right, you need to go learn from Meet Kevin or learn from Stephen Graham. You don't need to come learn from us because we don't talk about real estate. Right? Now, if you want to learn about crypto, you need to come to our channel. You don't need to go to fucking these other channels that don't talk about investing. Like, we only talk about investing and making life-changing profits in the crypto market. We don't talk about anything else. Okay? So, let me see. Cool Water says, hey Ty, have you ever pondered the idea of relocating to the US again? No, I have not once had that thought since I left in 2018. The reason is because I am very clear on what my goals are. I have 3 boys and I have 1 girl. I am setting up residences in Dubai and in Singapore, right? And or near Singapore, I would say near Singapore, like in Malaysia, right? The reason why is because I want my daughter, when she grows up, she's already a millionaire, right? So she needs to focus on finding the right guy to be in her life. So that's important. And I'm thinking, okay, where are all the guys that understand finances and business and entrepreneurship? And right now, my daughter is 10, and so in another, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, she's gonna be dating and looking for guys and looking for a boyfriend, looking for a husband and stuff. And so I need to establish my residency in a place where there's a high number of guys that are financially educated, that are financially and literate and business literate. And right now, the 2 places that I see that has those type of guys are in Singapore and Dubai. And both of those places have a low number of women too. So that gives my daughter an advantage because she's going to an environment where there's lots of guys that are financially educated and business educated. So that's for my daughter. Now, my 3 boys, I want them, I'm setting up residency in Vietnam, in Thailand, and Malaysia because I want my 3 sons to have access to Asian women. Okay? And the quantity of Asian women that's available to them are significantly higher in Southeast Asia. And it's not just Asian women, right? But I don't want my 3 boys marrying feminists or Western feminist women. Okay? I want my 3 boys to grow up and interacting with girls that want to be a housewife and do not want to dominate and rule their husbands. Okay, like the stupid ass feminists in the West want to do. Okay, so that's the reason why I have zero desire to relocate my family to the US. Now, if that feminist mentality changes in the US, then yes, I can see myself relocating my boys back to America. Okay, but besides that, I don't see it because I don't want my 3 boys growing up fighting their wives or fighting their girlfriends or fighting their women for control inside their family. I created this wealth for my family, and out of the 3 boys, they need to be responsible for maintaining this wealth in their lifetime, in their kids' lifetime. In order to do that, they have to be in control of the house, and they have to have a woman in their life that supports what they do. I don't need to create all this wealth, leave it to my kids, and then have some stupid ass feminist try to control my sons and ruin this wealth. Because if they get caught with a feminist wife, then all the wealth that I created for them will disappear. Because if you have a feminist woman in your life, it is extremely difficult to maintain that wealth. Because that bitch will say and do stupid shit that will cause you to lose all your wealth. Okay? So if you're a single guy, one of the best things that you can do is that if you can work remotely or relocate outside the Western countries, I would do that. I would move, like they have this phenomenon right now that they call the passport bros, right? I did not know that they were called passport bros. I just know that if you're looking for a housewife and not a feminist or a skanky hoe or an entertainment girl, you need to come to countries where those housewives still exist. Okay? So that's what I would recommend to all you guys, and that's the reason why I have no desires or even thoughts of moving back to the U.S. Okay? And you got to look at, so one of the keys to creating wealth, right, besides having clear goals, is seeing the trend. Seeing a trend when it happens. Like, if you ask us, hey, how did you know to get into crypto back in 2012, right? How did you guys know to hop on that train? Like, why did all the other guys work on Wall Street with you, Ty? Why didn't they hop on the same trend like you did, right? Well, because they didn't see it, because they were busy smoking weed and they were busy getting drunk. That's why they couldn't see it. They couldn't see that people were, the blockchain guys were inventing a solution and solving a massive problem on Wall Street. Even though they worked on Wall Street, they didn't see it as a problem. They didn't see that, money was being censored. They didn't see that money took 2 weeks to clear and settle, right? And they didn't see that something that was censorship resistant was more valuable. They didn't see that something that can clear and settle a transaction in 1 minute or 10 minutes had value. They couldn't see it. So that's why they didn't hop on that trend, right? So one of the things that I see right now in the US is that, they claim to have a democracy and stuff, but then they're afraid on the Democrats, they're afraid to lose, so they're indicting a former president. They're indicting him 4 times to try to put him in jail so that he can't run for president, right? First they cheat on the ballots, right? And now they want to put him in prison so that he can't compete on the presidential campaign, the stage, right? So if you see these things happening and you see them trying to convert young boys into ladyboys in school and chemically castrating them and trying to change their genders and stuff, and you have them all over the news and the media, right? You have to look at that and see the trend of where that country is going. Like if you guys go to Dubai and you see what the king is doing over there, right? It's a world of difference. If you guys go to Singapore and you see the trend that is going, if you guys go to Vietnam and you see the trend in which these countries are going, you have to ask yourself, like, why would you want to put your family in that situation in a country where the culture is trending in a direction that you don't want to go in, right? So hopefully that helps you guys out in some way, okay? Great Wolf asked me, do you have an opinion on Vivek? I don't know a lot about him. I know he's a young guy. The problem is that I see with, the only problem that I can see in Vivek, right, compared to like a Donald Trump, you know, we know for certain that Donald Trump has been through many obstacles in his life that's forced him to become a strong, masculine man. Okay? The things that Vivek, the way that he has made his money is in finances, right? In investments and things like that. And when you make your money in investments, it's a fast way to make life-changing profits, but it is an extremely slow way to create a strong masculine man because he doesn't run into enough obstacles, right? In order to create and manufacture a strong masculine man, you have to go through obstacles. You have to endure suffering. You have to endure challenges in your life, right? The reason why I can sit here and talk with a high degree of confidence on being a strong masculine man, about finances and about the things that I share about on this channel is because I have been through some hell and back. I have been in the refugee camps. I have starved. I have lived in the ghettos. I have been shot at by the police, right? I have been robbed by the people, the guys, the black guys in my neighborhood. I have shot them. They have shot me. I've had guys point guns to my head multiple times and robbed my ass, and I was scared to death, right? And I've been chased by the police. I've been shot, you know, like one time, right? We had like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 police cars chasing me and my brother down and trying to fucking kill us. They were not trying to stop us. They were shooting at us to kill us, okay? So when we survive these things and we go to prison, and my brother has had people cut his throat, stab him in the stomach. If you guys meet my brother, you will see scars on his neck. You will see stab wounds on his body, right? You will see, like, my hand is broken right here. The surgery stitches right here, right, is from the fights and the shit that I had to go through in prison, okay? So that constructs a strong masculine man. That forces you to be a strong person in your life. But that's not enough. That's not enough. You got to have some ethics and some morals that go along with that strong person. So I had the great opportunity in prison to be mentored for 11 years by a magnificent Polish priest. Even though I'm a Buddhist, right, this priest, he mentored me to make sure that when I come out of prison that I go on the right path, right, and I don't commit crimes, I don't come back to prison, and that I can differentiate between what's ethical, what's moral, right? And then I also had 6 years opportunity to study Zen Buddhism. That's why I changed my name from my last name from Dong to Zen, right? Is because that was the most beautiful thing that I've ever studied in my life, was the Zen Buddhism and the Zen meditation, okay? So because of that, right, not only do I have the right moral compass to go in the right direction, but I've also had the proper training and the obstacles to put me into the place today where I am a strong man and I know I have the right moral compass to go in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying that to say that I'm better than you guys or anything like that, but I'm just sharing with you guys the obstacles and the experiences that I have been through that has formulated the Thai Zen to become the person that he is today. Okay, I remember the Polish priest, the Polish Catholic priest telling me all the time when I was in prison, when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. And I would always ask him, like, like, Father, like, why I don't have these drugs and I have a 15-year sentence. And I have these guys, these Colombian guys, these Mexican guys, these cartel members that have containers. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 kilos or 1 or 2 tons, but containers full of drugs. And all they get is 5, 10 years. They have less time than I do. They will go out of prison before I do. I didn't even have the 6.5 kilos of cocaine, and these guys have 10 tons, 5 tons, 10 tons. I live with a Colombian guy, right, that had 5 tons of cocaine. I live with another Colombian guy that had 10 tons of cocaine, right? And these guys will do the same or less time than I do in prison, okay? And how's this happening? And I remember the Polish Catholic priest always telling me, right, that God works in mysterious ways. And sometimes God has to put us through these obstacles and challenges in life to strengthen us, to have us do what he has planned ahead for us. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that someday that I would be sitting here broadcasting to the world where hundreds and thousands of people would be influenced by my experience. I never imagined that. When I was sitting in the hole in prison, all I was thinking of is coming out, starting my life over, making enough money to buy food for me, getting a girlfriend, getting a wife, having kids, and having a family, and I'll be happy to have enough money and enough food to pay for food for my wife and kids. That was it, right? I never imagined that someday I was going to become one of the wealthiest guys on the planet and be able to share my experience with other people and influence how they live their lives and the decisions that they make in their lives. Okay? Never once imagined that. So I'm grateful to be here, and maybe what the Polish Catholic priest said was right. That I was put through all the struggles and obstacles in my life. Whether I did or not, it didn't matter. Maybe God had a better plan for me, and that's the reason why I'm here today, talking to you guys. Okay? So, Jackknife says, what are some weekly goals that you can set for yourself that leads to your longer term goals? I don't really have weekly goals that I set for my long-term goals, because setting goals to me, right, is not as important as doing things, right? So I know that I got to get this hedge fund set up during this bear market, right? So I got to talk to lawyers. I go online, search for these fund formation attorneys in the BVI and the Cayman and the Singapore and Dubai, and I talk to them. I've talked to maybe 24 attorneys already. I've talked to about 24 fund formation attorneys already, right? And then I got to talk to the custodians. I got to talk to the fund administrators. I got to talk to the lawyers, the accountants. I got to talk to these people. Setting goals does not mean shit to me because it doesn't get anything done. Because I can sit here and set goals, but nothing gets done, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm calling these people, right? I'm up until 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm calling these lawyers, I'm calling these accountants, and I'm staying up late talking to them because we're in different time zones, right? So that's what I do every week. And I'm constantly asking myself, okay, I have a goal. I got to get this crypto hedge fund set up during this bear market so I can start putting money in there and so that I can start growing it, right? And I want to do it while we're in the bear market. I don't want to do like Mike Novogratz did and set up his crypto hedge fund in 2018 and then start taking money in, and then the market tanks 50%, 6 months later, and then he's down 50%. I don't want to do that, right? So I want to set up during this bear market so I can start buying coins during this bear market right now. So when we go into the bull market, the fund looks a lot better, and it does a lot better, right? So I'm constantly asking myself, am I getting this done? I need to get this fund registered in the BVI, right, in the British Virgin Islands. Am I getting, what's missing? What's missing? I'm constantly asking myself every day when I wake up, what's missing? What's missing? What's preventing me from getting this registered, right? What's missing? What's missing? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? What information am I missing that's preventing me from taking action or making a decision, right? So that's what I'm constantly doing. I'm just constantly asking myself, right? Because I know that these little actions will all lead me to getting that fund set up, right? I need to build my house, my mansion on the beachfront in the city of Da Nang in Vietnam. I wake up, I'm constantly asking, okay, what's missing? I need the architectural plans, right? What's missing? What's missing? Why can't the architect design this house for me? What am I missing? What does the architect need from me? What does the builder need from me? So that's what I'm constantly asking myself, right? So I have these big goals over here of setting up the fund, of building my mansion, and setting up a STEM lab, a science and math education center for my kids, right? But I can't set that up until I build my house. So I put the STEM laboratory to the side and focus on building the house first, right? And then I gotta set the hedge fund, and then I gotta build the house, but I can't build the house yet because I don't have the land yet. And why is it that I don't have the land? Because I don't know if the architect can build this house yet, so I need the architect to design the house first before I buy the land, so I know how much land to buy, right? Okay, so now I got the architect. What's missing? Why can't he design the house for me yet? Well, I'm missing this information, so I'm trying to fill that in. And I have these big goals here, and I'm trying to figure out all the action steps to get there, right? And so I know that these are my goals, and this is the action steps, and usually I'm missing some kind of information to get to here. And that's how I think, okay? So I don't have like weekly goals that I set. Now, do I have deadlines for something that's critical or something important? Yeah, like for example, like if I'm doing something that with the government and they require a deadline, then yes, I do try to fulfill that deadline, okay? So the deadlines are slightly different than the goals, okay? So yeah, yeah, Tai Zen sounds way better than Tai Dong, all right? And it's not just a sound, right? I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that the reason why my life changed was because of me being able to control my feelings, my ego, and my short-term emotions, right? Being able to remain neutral so I can make accurate decisions in my life, you know? And the reason why I was able to control my emotions and my egos is because of the Zen meditation practice, right? That's the number one biggest cause and contributor to me being able to maintain and control my feelings and my emotions, so I don't allow what the words and actions outside of me influence how I feel, okay? So that's the reason why I changed it to Tai Zen, right? Green Mitzi said that the other prisoners had better lawyers. No, it's not. The lawyers, if you guys get arrested by the federal, the lawyers don't do shit. There's nothing they can do, okay? You just gotta look at the evidence and then see how much evidence they have and try to negotiate a plea bargain with them. There's absolutely zero things that the lawyers can do. I have not, you know, I've been at 7, 8 different federal prisons. I've not met one prisoner that said, oh yeah, my lawyer was able to help me do this, okay? Whenever you guys hear a lawyer, whenever you hear a prisoner say that their lawyer helped them get a smaller sentence, what that translates to is that I snitched on somebody else so they can do the prison time so I don't have to do it. And that's how I got a reduced sentence, okay? There's no such thing as lawyers helping you, okay? Because in the federal system, there's mandatory minimums. So if you get caught, X amount of drugs, here's what the guidelines say, this much time, and that's it, okay? Now in the state, if you say that you have a good lawyer, I can believe that, but not in the federal, okay? Nathan from Chiang Mai, very solid video today, speaking the truth. Yeah, you come down to Bangkok, let me know. We'll grab some coffee or something. From a G's perspective, yeah, those 2 fake crypto YouTubers got that PC rape vibe. Yeah, yeah. You know, the Richard Hart and those and BitBoy Crypto. If I see those 2 guys in prison, right, they would fit the profile of some child molesters. They would fit the exact. If you ask anybody in prison, they display the characteristics of those guys in prison. I'm not accusing them of that, okay? So don't say that I'm accusing them of being a child molester, okay? But I would say that at most, right, at least, I would say that if you put those 2 guys in prison and you just tell 100 prisoners to go by and talk to them for just 30 seconds, I would say that the majority of the prisoners would say that those guys are up to something. They're crooked dudes. Okay, they are crooked dudes. I would, you know, if you ask anybody that's been in prison for like 5 to 10 years, I can almost assure you that their bullshit meter would go into the red and say that these guys are a bunch of fucking crooked dudes, man. Okay? All right, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this live stream, right? And I hope that I'm able to convey the importance of having clear goals to you guys, okay? So that you guys can make life-changing profits much faster, okay? So remember, guys, the more clear that your goals are, the more accurate that you can make a financial decision. The easier and faster you can make a decision. When you are stuck and you don't know when to take profits, the majority of the time it's because you don't know what your financial goals are. Right? I don't know. You go ahead and put in the comments, guys. Is this helping you guys out? Is this helping you guys become aware of what the biggest mistake that everyone on our team and every one of our students has made is? I hope that someday I can get a email or a text message or a phone call from one of you guys saying, hey Ty, your video telling us to establish clear goals helped me take profits clearly and accurately, and now I'm able to change my life. I hope that this helps you guys. Okay? All right. And also, I see from G's perspective there, I hope that you this video also helps you, my friend. You know, that it helps you make the right decisions in your life and to get rid of the negative people and not to give up, my friend. Don't give up. Okay? You remember when the other prisoners, when you left, the other guys told you that you're going to come out, you're not going to amount to anything, and that you'll never make it because you have a felony record and all that. And look at you. You're out for 10 years. You're not back in prison. You're not part of that statistic. Okay? Keep it up. Keep your head up. Don't lose hope. Don't lose perspective. Make sure that you get rid of the negative people around you and stay focused. Know what your goals are. Stay focused. Eliminate all the negativity from your life, you know, and you will make that life-changing profits. You will be in that top 3%, that top 1%. That top 0.5%, right? Don't let nobody fucking tell you because you're black or because you're a felon or because you're poor or because you know you've been through some hard times in your life that you can't do it. Okay. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I enjoyed sharing my thoughts with you guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in a future video. Thank you, and this will conclude the broadcast.